A very good evening and welcome to the live lounge here in Portsmouth, where Thursday night wouldn't be a Thursday night without the darts, would it? And here at the MODUS Super Series, we have got the ultimate darty party for you. 10 fantastic matches coming up in Group B. But earlier on this afternoon, we saw Group C in action. Phil Bars was alongside me in the commentary box to describe all of the action. And it was an intriguing first session, a session where both Shane McGurk and Ryan Harrington lead the way. Yeah, look, Henry, I absolutely loved the session. It was full of drama, full of action. And although the bottom two maybe have got a little bit too much work to do, it can still be done mathematically, so we can't rule them out just yet. But the top of the table is really intriguing, and especially Lisa Ashton, poised there, waiting to strike. Really looking forward to tomorrow and especially tonight as well. Well, let's have a look at that table then and just dissect it a little bit further. McGurk and Harrington on 8 points. But as you say, Lisa Ashton, that real interesting position on 6 points. Beat Thibaut Tricol in the last game of the session, a game which could have swung both players' fortunes. Yeah, and 11-1 at the start of the show. Me and Chris both said it looked too big, and she's there poised, ready to strike. Ryan Harrington on 8 points, but he kind of got away with it in spells. He wasn't at his brilliant best, but found a way to win. But top of the table, Shane McGurk, and rightfully so, because he was the standout in Group C today. Jack Main, 2 points from his day. Maybe we expect a little bit more from him? Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with that. He came here last time with a big reputation. We've seen him hit 9 darters on tour before. He came here and produced last time, but maybe just a little bit too much pressure on his shoulders and maybe a bit too much expectation within himself to come here and do well. Look, he can still do it. It's going to take an almighty effort. Will probably have to be perfect, but it's doable. It most certainly is. So that was Group C. Let's see how the week is progressing, because we already have a player through 2 finals night. That is in the name of Tommy Morris, who won Group A, came in as a late substitute for Gordon Mathers, who couldn't take part this week because of travel issues. And look, if you're going to get an opportunity, make the most of it. Yeah, look, he got his opportunity. He played 1 day last week, so got a feel of the place early, and I think that was the key to Tommy's success, that the fact he wasn't coming here not knowing the scenarios, not knowing where to walk, where to go. He knew that just from that 1 day, so he felt settled, and look, he took Group A by storm. It was a breath of fresh air, and just the way he played, he wasn't going to be intimidated by anyone on that stage. He was dominating his opponents up there, and it was great to see. So Group B gets underway this evening, the last of our groups to get underway here this week at the MODUS Super Series. And it's a sort of group where I think we're finding it quite difficult to pick apart. Yeah, look, you look at all of the players here, you can make a case for each and every one of them. 5 players, 5 potential winners, where we've seen groups before and you think, oh, he'll win it. Maybe he can come second, maybe nick a third. But this one, you can genuinely make a case for each of them because they've all got individual qualities and individual brilliance within their own game. Well, let's see how the bookmakers think about proceedings. And as you can see there, 2 joint favourites. Patrick Mark sandwiched in the middle at 9-2, and then Shuan at Lee at 11-2. They don't really know where to go, do they? No, I look at Steve West, and he's the standout for me in this group. He has pedigree at the highest stages of all. He's beaten Phil Taylor, beaten Michael van Gerwen on the biggest stages, narrowly missed out on Champions Week before. So for me, I think Steve is the favourite, but I also see a lot of value in Lee Shuan and Daniel Lee. Of course, Daniel Lee played at the UK Open, so again, experience where it matters. Talking about value, it is time for Bars's bets. Let's see what Phil thinks about tonight's proceedings. Now, this is a very ambitious 12-1 treble. Yeah, look, we've gone a little bit bold, but there is a little bit of value there. First up, Steve West, like I said before, he is the class act in this field. Big scorer, so I just think he may have a little too much, and the handicap is a little bit of value because he is short on his own. Then we've got Dan Reed against Lee Shuan. We're looking at the stats. Dan Reed does hit a lot of 180s here at the live lounge, so we're going to take that one on. And then in the final one, we've got Reed against Mart. And again, I just think Dan Reed's experience on this stage, he's been here, he's done it, he's got to finals nights before. I just like the handicap. I think it's a big price, and the treble pays just over 12-1. And if you are going to have a flutter on any of the action this evening at the Super Series, it is 18+, and it is begambleaware.org. Well, our first game of this evening sees Lee Shuan in action. He's going to take on Patrick Mark. Shuan returning to the Super Series. He's been here for every single one of our series so far. This is how he's done over the all-time statistics. And you have a look at the running average of 82, and you have a look at the checkout rate of 33%. That's solid stuff, which makes you hard to beat. Yeah, and I think he is going to be hard to beat. Yeah, you see his win percentage at 48%. If he can just add a couple of percent to that, he will be a danger here. And we've seen him do big things on big stages at the Lakeside, and I'm sure he can transfer that here this evening. As for Patrick Mark, debut for him this week. This is what he did in terms of Group A. Is it fair to say that we saw maybe two different versions of Patrick on Tuesday compared to Wednesday.
Yeah, completely. He was in a fabulous place going into Wednesday, and maybe just that little bit of his experience, little bit of composure when it matters. You learn a lot about yourself when it's not going your way, and when you lose one or two on the bounce, it's how you stop that slide, and maybe he just didn't have the composure to stop that. But we've also seen his A game where he's gone on rampages. He was top of Group A going into that final session, so he knows how to win. It's just about controlling that emotion.
And just finally, what you're looking forward to most from this group?
I'm looking forward to seeing Steve West mix it, I really am. And I'm interested to see how he bounces back, because it was a disappointment the way he went out of Champions Week so close to the grand final. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Steve bounces back here.
We're going to see Steve West just a little bit later on this evening, but we are going to kick off with that battle between Lee Shewan and Patrick Mark. Phil Bars is going to make his way down to the commentary box to describe all the action in the company of Chris Murphy. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Henry. Hello, everybody. Yes, we are going to get our 10 matches underway with this one between Lee Shewan and Patrick Mark, looking to recover from that, well, complete capitulation, it has to be said, on Wednesday. Having won all 5 of his fixtures on Tuesday, Mark had a meltdown, lost all 5 the following day, and ended up not just not topping the Group A table where he found himself after 2 days' play, but eventually finishing 3rd. He takes on Fleetwood flinger, the cobbler Lee Shewan, in the opening match of Thursday night. Man from Zwolle in the Netherlands, one of the ADC Europe
Okay, first leg is Lee to throw first. Game on!
Binks officiating the evening's action, and it will be interesting to see if Mark manages to rediscover Tuesday's form or carries on Wednesday's
85.
woes. Tough tight to take on Shewan in the opener. Phil Bars has made his way into the commentary
43.
box. Yeah, how important do you think this first match is for Patrick in particular after having that real meltdown yesterday?
Yeah, I think it's hugely important, Murph. You look at it, he was top on the Tuesday night going into it, and he'd have been looking at booking his place in Saturday's final, and the way it all unravelled, he'll be thinking,
60.
why, how has that happened? But also, speaking to Lee Shewan, he's fully aware of what happened as well, so he'll be looking to punish that mistake as well and really drive it home to Patrick that, hang on a minute,
59.
I know that you had a little bit of a meltdown, a little bit of a wobble, and I want to stick my foot on your throat.
Started the puns already.
59.
The cobbler with the foot on the throat. Gag there from Phil Bars. Not even sure he meant it. I used to do the puns around here. Well, look, he's trying to do that here. Oh, and it was in, and then he was out.
Yeah, it looked like it flicked the flight on the way through and just lost some of the momentum into the board and didn't stick.
44. Lee
He has
require
left
156.
a finish regardless, and the early indications are that we are seeing Wednesday's march rather than Tuesday's when he was terrific. I know it's only a leg in, but he's had to wait quite a long
44.
time, hasn't he, to try and put things right, and he's not going to be happy with his first few visits in this opener.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you look at it, he'd have probably been at the hotel today watching Group C thinking, I want to get back up there. I need to put this right. And like you said, it's a long wait. First game on, and he's not
60,
quite hit the heights that he wants either.
Well, can he produce a sizable checkout to get things going? Needed the treble 19 with a dart 2.
123.
Does leave a nice finish, so
52.
Shewan is on notice here.
Can I get 2 darts at double 16? Just steps back, composes. Now he's chasing. Last dart at 8.
36.
And it doesn't go. And you
Patrick
can see by the
required
grimace
32.
on the cobbler's face, he knows how big that could be.
Patrick
24.
missing opportunities himself.
Lee
A
requires
slow start
16.
to the leg from Patrick Mark, but he did manage to earn himself 3 darts at double. Missed the lot. And Shewan can take advantage. Double 4 now. Double 2. Does anybody
14.
want to win this first leg?
Yeah, I'm more concerned
Patrick,
the
you're
dart at
required
double 4
8.
was wild. No composure. But nor is Patrick. Both in the madhouse.
Game shot on the first leg.
And it is Patrick
Patrick Mart.
who finds double 1 for an early breaker throw. But you can see there's tension
Second
in
against
both
Patrick
players.
to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those legs where, of course, he'll be happy to get it in the ledger, but he won't feel too good about how he's playing after it.
100.
10 darts missed at double between them before Mart finally found the madhouse.
Yeah, and Shewan will be grinding inside because he knows there was a huge chance there just to keep Patrick's confidence low as well. We all know how this sport can change, Murph, in the blink of an eye. One dart, a double, one big score here, and you can gain so much confidence from it.
Yeah, well, in most formats that players play in
100.
In darts, it's sort of best of 11 is kind of the lowest these days, and you get those kind of legs, and you hear players say, well, I
140.
didn't care who won it because I just wanted it over with. But in this format, every leg really does matter, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You see players at the highest level grow into games, and maybe the first set or the first mini session, as we call them, they're a little bit off, but they know they've got time to grow into these games. But here, in the blink of an eye, you could be 2-3-0 down, and that mountain maybe too big to climb for some of these players.
Is Patrick Mart going to be like the striker who hasn't scored in months, and then one goes in off his backside, and suddenly he can't stop finding the target? No, he's missing again.
They require 134.
The only thing is that Lee Shewan's got a toughie. The 1-3-4 is never easy. Looking at 54 for 2 double tops, and it's not going to go. And Patrick Mart will be back.
2-0
lead.
Patrick, you require
to compound the break of throw that he got in the opener. That looks a good guide, but he's over-adjusted. Now the tricky double 5, and he's pulled it low.
Lee requires
so Lee Shewan for an instant break back.
Well, it's one of those games, isn't it, where we might as well forget the scoring section and just start them off on a double.
Game's on the second leg.
Nicking this leg after Mart had nicked the previous leg. Well, after 2 legs, it's 1-1, and I think it's safe to say that both players are lucky that the scoreline's that.
Yeah, and you just saw Lee Shewan's reaction there, that the double he actually hit was clean and in the middle, and he was saying to himself, where have you been for the last 2 legs?
60.
And they've both started with trebleless visits in leg 3.
We'll take a look at the action, the side profile here of Lee Shewan.
60.
A little bit of movement in the body.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of moving parts in the hand as well.
180.
Perfect time to see that work from his opponent. Mart, all very much in front of his face.
Yeah, nice straight follow through as well from Mart.
58.
Again, a bit of rocking around in the body, and I think that was more pronounced than it usually is, and it suggests to me maybe not comfortable yet.
100.
No, I agree. I think there's still some nerves up there, and he hasn't settled yet. That looked very jerky on release as well there from that
58.
angle.
58.
Yeah, the last start, a real lurch from Patrick. And it might leave him in the lurch if Shewan can fire in a big one here.
140. Patrick, 146.
Does that down to a 2-darter. So 146 on offer. Surely he'll stay there. He does. The double 13. Oh, what a finish. What a moment from Mart. He had the perfect guide, used it, and then landed the double. And after neither player could seemingly hit a double for love nor money, Patrick Mart slams in a big one.
The moment of magic in this match so far has come from Patrick Mart. And
140.
Where did that come from? Because there had been no indication as of that moment that a moment of magic was around the corner.
60.
Oh, did you not think he was going to hit it? I was certain. I'll tell you what, we did sort of pick up on though, that first start, and I know it's maybe overused, that FDM term of first start merchants, but when it was that plum in that treble 20, he must have felt, I'm going to take this out now.
140.
Yeah, and I'm pleased he stayed there as well, because we've seen players switch and would have gone for the 18s to leave double 16, but the way that first start was set, I agree, completely the right decision just to follow the first start and look, just give yourself a dart, a double.
Yeah, particularly with Leon 84, because he was going to get a dart or a double, wasn't he, from there? So
60.
Doesn't matter which one it's at.
And especially
60.
after yesterday, that will be music to Mart's ears. After a rocky start in this one as well. Maybe it's just settled down a little bit.
60. Patch record 141.
Well, he's got another 140-something to aim at here. This time he's not going to take it out, but he's got the insurance of Shewan not being on a finish.
Chases around the board and finds that big treble with his last dart on the 18s to set up 48.
99. Patch record
This might
48.
even be more telling than the 146, because he's going to have a couple of darts at double here. That one's a distance away.
32.
So is that one. The reason I made that comment is
Lira
because
Quiet 82.
when they've been on smaller finishes, this pair, they've been chasing them around.
Yeah, we see it so often, don't we? The one dart at the end of the combination is sometimes easier than 3 in hand. 17 for a dart at tops. And he slid
52.
the wrong side of the wire.
Patch record 16.
Yeah, disappointment etched on
Games
the
on the
face there of
forehead.
Shewan, and Mark making the most of it. He leads 3-1 and is 1 away from starting tonight exactly how he would have wanted in terms of the results.
Game on.
Having lost all 5 games yesterday.
And Lee Shewan's just got to believe here that he will get chances, even at 3-1 down. He just has to find that composure and that moment to take them.
95.
A really interesting opening session is Group B, because unlike Group C, you can do a lot of damage
140
on opening night. You're never really out of it after the first night, but you can be as good as through if you win all your matches.
Yeah, if you go 4 from 4, then you're pretty much there, because your leg difference should be half decent as well. But we have seen it, that you lose all 4 games in Group B on the Thursday night,
140.
come back on the Friday and win all 4, and you just scrape that 3rd spot.
59.
Well, better leg here from
81.
Lee Shewan, a hat-trick of ton 40s to leave 81, and it might be an 11 darter. Steps back, refocuses, takes aim, and pins the
on the
double
5th
well.
leg. Lee Shewan.
He'll be thinking, why could I not do that earlier in the game? A nice bit of sportsmanship there from Patrick Marsh as well.
Patrick to throw first.
Expecting the best leg of the match. 11 darter, 3-2.
Yeah, and I don't know how you feel, but we've all got our favourite finishes, and of course the 9 is special. But there's something about the 11 dart leg, 3 140s and 81 in 2.
Yeah. People have the favourites, so they know
97.
Paul Nicholson likes the 350 in 6. I think my favourite shot in darts is the
139.
60 bullseye treble 13 setup shot. When a player's on 181.
98.
You're not a fan of the 82 we saw earlier from Jack Main?
26.
Yeah, that was, interesting. Well, 19 should be the shot for Lee Shewan here, but now he's left himself in a bit of peril.
85.
He couldn't leave a finish with his last dart.
Yeah, we talk about board management there. The 419s and the treble 20 would have left the big fish.
96.
Lee Shewan will be thinking here, a good visit and I've got a chance, but needs a treble.
100.
Finds it last dart in hand to leave 1-2-1. Patrick Mark, the 140 isn't going to go, so Lee Shewan has an outside chance to break back
here.
here.
121.
Treble 17 would have left the ball. It's not going to go.
43.
So match starts for Patrick Mark incoming.
40.
Oh, could not get much closer than that
30.
without going in, and it may mean that the match
78.
goes into a final leg as Shewan takes aim at 78. Treble 18 for starters, now needs a treble. Gets it for double 10. And ironically, it would be assault in the wound shot here because Mark's just missed 2 at that
58.
target himself.
Patrick,
Can't
your
find it
corner,
either.
10.
That looks a decent guy to work off of, and it is. And we see the celebration from Patrick Mark there. We know how much that means to him after losing all 5 games yesterday. He is off and running in Group B with a 4-2 win over Lee Shewan. Coming up after the break, we're going to see Steve West against Daniel Lee.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Patrick Mark puts his woes on Wednesday behind him by getting the better of Lee Shewan by 4 legs to 2, aided and abetted by that magnificent 1-4-6 finish. So the Dutchman gets the first rubber of this group. Game 2 sees the return of Steve West to the MODUS Super Series. Made it to Champions Week last time out. He takes on Daniel Lee in his opening encounter. We saw Daniel as part of our Group A programme of fixtures, and these are his stats over the course of the 3 days. And you have to say it makes some real solid showings. 84.05 running average and 34.9% as far as the checkout ratio is concerned. And that makes him very hard to beat. And that was exactly what he was in Group A, finishing second in that particular group behind Tommy Morris. So what we're going to see in this one, hopefully no one will crack under the pressure. The voices in the commentary box are Phil Bars and Chris Murphy.
Thank you very much, Henry, and welcome back, everyone, on Sporty Stuff TV and the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel, and our first look at Steve West. And Chris, I'm excited by this one, to see Steve's reaction, because he was so close in Champions Week to getting to the final, 3-1 up in that last game in Group C, and missed multiple match starts. So to be back on that stage, I'm interested to see, is there any nerves or anything like that, how he settles again?
Yeah, it will be really, really interesting to see how he does. And he has had good moments here at the Super Series as well. Steve West,
Okay,
of course,
first,
won his week to get to Champions Week in the first place.
Game on!
And has put in some good performances. And don't forget, he's been carrying injuries. He had a problem with his eye when he was here. He's been waiting a hip replacement. In fact, it's a hip replacement for a hip replacement that Steve West's been waiting for.
59.
So he's gone through the wars, but he does still manage to find the odd big performance.
Yeah, I remember his week final against Fallon Sherrock was a stunning performance, because up until then, Fallon had been the best performer across 43. The night, and Steve West found that top gear and was just sensational. Yeah,
and Daniel Lee, another discovery through the fantastic link with the ADC, won a Vault Series in the Midlands. He
60.
Player from Birmingham, and what we've seen from him, well, I think he's got a bit of swagger about him. He goes interesting ways, shall we say, at times, but he's very, very watchable.
I completely agree. He's very quirky.
41.
And what I call a modern player, that he's going to do things his way, not by the textbook. And there's a lot to like. And, of course, played at the UK Open this year, lost that to someone that we know very well here at the Super Series in Conor Heenahan.
45.
Well, Steve West has the darts in this one. Interestingly, Steve West has played... He's thrown first in 19 matches at the Super Series.
119.
He's actually only lost 2 of those. When he's had the darts, he has been very, very good.
Yeah, and that just shows the task that Daniel Lee has got to break Steve West here, because Steve does have the darts. So at some point, if Daniel Lee wants those 2 points, he's going to have to find a huge leg on the West darts.
180.
A huge visit. And maybe this is the leg for Lee, a 180 to leave 118.
121.
Just saw that took a wicked deflection off the flights.
Can't be done. 103 left after the first start, so West will going to go at the 117.
Stevie Rock 170.
Hang on to his throat.
2 bites of the cherry at this one. Treble 20, single 17, a dart at tops. And that's all Steve West needs, a ton-topping finish in leg number 1. And that goes back to the point that Chris made brilliantly on his own dart. Steve West is going to be a handful, as that finish showed.
Well, he's moving around here.
81.
So he's determined to stay there, Daniel Lee. But sometimes I don't see the value in being so sort of stubborn, particularly early in a leg.
Yeah, too stubborn.
60.
You'd rather throw darts at an open bed. Working down.
60.
Not settled yet, Daniel Lee. That first dart is a little bit erratic at the moment.
I must admit, I'm surprised that Steve West, wasn't made
100.
A big favourite for this group. He was joint favourite, wasn't he, with Dan Reed? I actually got the feeling when I looked at the group that the only name that I could say with any kind of confidence that would make it through was Steve West.
I completely agree, and I said that up there with Henry. The fact he was joint favourite was a surprise. I thought he was the class act in the field, tried and tested over course and distance.
Yeah, this is a man, of course, who's made a Pro Tour final. He actually had a shot to beat Michael van Gerwen.
96.
He's beaten Michael van Gerwen on TV. He's beaten Phil Taylor on TV. Been there and done it.
Not just beaten those 2 you've mentioned, absolutely annihilated
56.
them.
Yeah, but he is one of those players, isn't he? And we talk about them all the time. When he's on, he's on. But he's just not on often enough to have gone on to that next level.
85.
I remember the European Championships in 2020. I think it was the first tournament back that we had fans in Germany. I think there was only 100, 150 or so. But you just felt that was Steve West moment. And like you said, when he was on, he was sensational. But just at that key moment, the A game deserted him.
60. Daniel, you record 120.
Well, Shanghai on offer for Lee. Well, is that a bit of a blocker? It is. He's moved across. And you can see from the angle that actually by moving he did see a lot of the bed, but wouldn't have been surprised to have seen a man of his kind of unorthodox antics to go bull there.
Game's on the second
West
leg.
cleans up.
Steve West.
This has got an interesting sort of... It's almost the anti-Steve West, this, because usually his scoring is absolutely superb, but his doubling can let him down. Well, in this game, Steve West has 2 out of 2 on the doubles, 100 checkout and 117 checkout.
45.
But in terms of the scoring, he hasn't recorded a 2 treble turn yet.
Yeah, completely the opposite of Steve West's normal game.
139.
He's turned into the James Wade of the Super Series.
Yeah, brilliant finishing. 2-ton topping checkouts. As we get a look at his. Now, contrast that to the first match when we saw the side profiles of the 2 players. There was hardly any movement in the body from Steve West there, just the arm doing all the work.
Yeah, and the same for Daniel Lee there as well. Everything is stationary. The head doesn't move, which I like. And fundamentally, nothing can go wrong with these actions. We've seen over the years...
180.
There we go. There's the first one from him. Going back to, we've seen over the years that some players have come and gone with erratic actions, but the test of time is there for all to see.
Well, another thing we know is the commentator's curse is well and truly intact, because since I said Steve West hadn't had a 2 treble turn,
96.
He's had a 140 and a 180.
42.
Daniel Lee, though, looking for an 11 darter to break his throat.
22.
What's interesting there for me is that he knew what he was going for, 42. He went 2 tops, and then before the 3rd dart, had to double-check the score. Which shows a little lack of concentration for me.
Game's on the 3rd
Steve West,
leg.
golden finishing continues, 3 from 3.
This is just sensational from Steve West on the outer ring. As the average is approaching the 94 mark here. He found his scoring boots and continued his fabulous finishing.
And this is a real statement from Steve.
66.
We will see the final player in the group in action next, Dan Reed.
140.
Week 9 of the previous series. And it was cruel, wasn't it, for Steve West, that Champions Week? Went right down to it. The very last game of Group C he was in against Justin Hood. Only had to win. Hood was already eliminated, but managed to beat Steve West in a deciding leg in that group.
140.
And the thing with that game was, Chris, that Steve West was 3-1 up and had multiple match starts in those legs.
Well, where's he going?
130.
Okay, went for a treble 15 there. He would have left 117 doing so.
I like that. The calculator works.
60.
Yeah, just not accurate with it, unfortunately. But he's right on Steve's shoulder here. And he will go past him in this visit. You would think 55. He needed to find a much bigger treble than that one, though.
After what we've seen so far from West, this wouldn't surprise me.
Well, we saw West hit 3 bulls last time he was here. It wasn't a finish.
64.
He did it to set up the finish. Daniel Lee. Wouldn't surprise me if he tried that here. I think we are going to see. Look, I think if he gets to a point where he's either through or out,
Stevie
we might see
97.
him do some really fun stuff like that.
I completely agree. 97 for the match is going to get 2 darts at tops. Staring it down.
Hasn't missed yet. Has now.
77.
Again, and he misses when it matters because Lee has the opportunity to save his skin.
Finds the 57.
Look how far across he walked then. That's interesting.
Game's on the 4th
Moves
leg.
closer effectively to the target when he goes at the opposite side of the board there. So the 57 found, And instead of just staying where he was, like
Fifth
most
against
players
Steve
do,
to throw first.
had a good
Game
walk
on.
across the hockey to get closer to the target, more in line with the target he's throwing at, and he found it. It worked for him.
Yeah, and now he's got a leg on the board.
180.
He may gain some confidence. However, Steve West has other ideas as he starts leg 5 with a max.
81.
Yes, Hasley poked the bear. Oh, this is brilliant. That's a perfect dart. That's really, really annoyed me because that
140.
was so inviting. And you can see that he followed it with the third. He might do my favourite
40.
shot now, though. Although I don't think he'd go that way, Steve West. He'd try and leave tops, wouldn't he? That 149 that I like.
Yeah.
He
137.
doesn't miss doubles. Steve West has been a complete powerhouse in this match, and he might be about to start the night in
59.
sensational
Stephen
style.
require 44.
Yeah, 44 to seal a 4-1 win. 4-2 at tops. Slid into the wrong double. Can he recover?
14.
No is the answer. And another couple of match darts come and go, but he will be back.
Needs a lot to leave a finish.
140.
Can't manage it, so it will give Steve
Stevie
West a
requires
choice to
30.
make here. Straight for it, or does he go, say, 6 double 12? Or 10 double 10? And he gets there in the end. Still not convinced that he wanted the 10 there. 6 double 12 for me would be usually the Steve West way. But he has managed to win the match, and he's done it emphatically as well. Really good start to the night for him. Those stats leap off the page. 95.58. 2 three-figure finishes, 100 and that 117. And his finishing was superb right up until the end of the match, but it didn't matter. Still a 4-1 win, and West leads the way. Dan Reed in action for the first time next. He takes on Lee Shewan. Stay with us.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code.
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, and what a start Steve West has made to his campaign by getting the better of Daniel Lee 4-1, doing so with a 95.5 average and 2 ton-plus checkouts en route. So, next up for us is what Matthew Edgar likes to call the magical point of the week, because we're going to see every player in action now as Dan Reed takes on Lee Shewan. This is how Dan has got on here at the Super Series during his previous appearances in the competition, and you have to say that 88.95 running average is very, very good indeed. Well, he takes on Lee Shewan, both of these players looking for first points in the group, and this is going to be described by Phil Bars and Chris Murphy.
Thank you very much, Emery, and welcome back everyone here on Sporty Stuff TV and the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. First look at Dan Reed in Group B. The man from Thatcham takes on Lee Shewan from Fleetwood. Not far from Blackpool as the Winter Gardens is on the horizon, Chris.
First.
Yeah,
Game on.
absolutely. It's one they all want to be at. In fact, we were talking about Steve West's conquest in the previous match, weren't we? I always remember him actually lost to Darryl Gurney in Blackpool, where he really did let it slip. But he's made the perfect start tonight. Now, he was joint favourite with Dan Reed, according to the odds compilers. And if Reed is going to live up to that billing, then he's going to have to put in a decent performance here.
Yeah, Steve
100.
West certainly sent out a statement to the rest of Group B in that last game, telling them, I'm the man to beat here.
Dan the man. Looking
100.
to repeat what we saw from Steve. Defeat for Lee Shewan, though, in his opener went down to Patrick Mart, the Dutchman, getting rid of some darting demons after a nightmare Wednesday, losing all 5 fixtures. There was the odd glimmer, though, from Lee Shewan, notably an 11 dart leg in that one.
100.
The missed darts at double that killed him. Only 2 from 11 in his opener, so it wasn't as if he didn't have chances against Marts.
140.
I'll read here, trying to make sure he holds on to his throw. Now, he's just... Well, what's happened there? He stopped himself, had a little shake of the head, a little laugh to himself. Is he thinking that... I think Lee Shewan might have had a little bit of a stumble there.
86.
The cobbler wants to maybe redo the soles of his shoes.
It's a big lad, Lee, isn't he?
Big visit. Whatever you do, don't stay there.
136, Daniel. 145.
Shewan has the Reed throw under some pressure here. And that 145 isn't going to go. So Lee Shewan will be back to break in the opening leg.
85. Lee require 40.
This was the Achilles heel last time out. Can he put it right?
Game shot on
Yes,
the first
is
leg.
the answer.
Lee Shewan.
Lee Shewan breaks in 14 darts and leads Dan Reed 1-0.
Yeah, Shewan making
Second
his
against
move.
Lee to throw first.
Might have been wobbly walking back, but not shaky at the start of the match. But I have to say, even more baffling that Dan Reed was made joint
46.
favourite for this group is how he performed in the previous group. Well, Dan Reed, he played Group B last time, Dan Reed, and he actually finished 4th in it, winning just 3 matches across the 2 nights.
60.
That was on week 9 of the previous series.
Which
He's one of those players, isn't he? Sometimes he turns up and he's brilliant. Sometimes he's just not really there at all.
59.
in that same week, it was strange because he played some really good stuff in Group A, only just missing out he pushed the Group A all the way, finishing third.
135.
Yeah, it was just 4 points adrift of Lucas Veinig in second. But it was
134.
a long way adrift of John Henderson that week. 10 points ahead. John Henderson was brilliant, wasn't he, in that Group A?
Yeah, it was the very best of Hendo.
95.
Hope to see him again at some point this year, because I tell you what, I don't think we'll be seeing him next year at the Super Series.
I completely agree, and I think a year doing this, playing in all these events,
140.
will bring the best out of John. He openly says that during the COVID period he didn't play enough. There was a lack of motivation to go and play, but that is firmly back, and he believes he belongs on tour. And from what we've seen here, I agree with him.
Right, Shewan looking at treble 18, and another for double 7.
115. And you require
Love the look at the
111.
imaginary crowd, don't you, when you've missed?
I think he fancied that when it left his hand as well.
Well, the way he attacked the treble. And now it's Reed looking for a double.
91.
Took a nosedive,
He
that one.
requires 7.
Now all care and attention on the first dart.
That's the difficult bit. Steps back, looking at double 2, but that's wild. But recovers
Games on
well.
the second leg.
Lee Shewan finds double 1 and leads 2-0.
That was strange, wasn't it, at the end of that leg? The first dart at double 2
So
was
it's
so
down
high,
to
it was
throw
almost a
first.
marker for double 1.
During the break, and a nice little message from someone we know very well here at the Super
100.
Series, who is watching along this evening, and he is cheering on Dan Reed, is Mr. Graham Usher, someone that has illuminated both our Southampton
82.
venue and here at the Live Lounge.
Yes, all Graham Usher over at the last European Tour event. Great company as always. Dan Reed here
60.
in his first throws of the evening. Again, we get a close-up look at the side shot of the players.
82.
First time we've seen Reed. I know you're a darting action connoisseur, Phil, so talk us through this one.
Again, he's nice and still. My
125.
one concern is the angle of the dart as he pulls it back, and as it's under his eye, it's at an almost vertical angle, so it's doing a lot in the air.
134.
If you sit here as he pulls it back, it's at quite a steep angle, and the trajectory is then huge.
59.
We might end up with a really huge mountain to climb here, Dan Reed, because Lee Shewan's in danger of opening up a 3-leg lead with a double break.
45.
However,
and you require
that is a
157.
slip.
$97.
Big last start.
You require
finds
158.
treble 19 to leave 60. And he will be back because the 158 isn't going to go.
82. Daniel requires 60.
All about the first dart, a 60 checkout. Don't block the bed. You might actually be able to use that. Does get in the way. Double 10, open target this time, but
40.
not found.
He requires 76.
Dan hasn't got the flatty.
Such a safe dart, wasn't it? Staying away from the treble.
Almost too safe.
That wasn't very safe at all
90.
from Lee Shewan. Missed
And he
and needed a
required
treble with
20.
dart 2. So Reed returns. Double 10, his target. That becomes double 5. Well, he cannot buy a double. Cannot buy a leg.
No score. He requires 57.
And now Dan Reed is right up against it. If Lee Shewan can find tops with one of these two darts. Chasing now double
42.
15 because he found double 5.
Daniel required 20.
I'll play it again, Dan. Double 5. Same scenario.
No score. He required 15.
The averages are plummeting in this leg.
Yeah, I was looking at it and thinking that these two have kind of followed
Games
suit
on the
of Steve
third
West
leg.
previously. They're both
Lee
averaging
Shewan.
around 92 before they got to a double in that leg. Now 82 Lee Shewan
Well,
and Dan
Lee to
Reed
throw
below
first.
80.
Game
But the most important statistic is Dan Reed 0, Lee Shewan 3.
And you can see Dan Reed at the back of the
60.
stage there, head down. He's searching for something here. Because he's 0 from 7. He's had opportunities, especially in that leg.
85.
We have seen Lee Shewan, of course, at a finals night before. In fact, he was involved in a 9-dart shootout on a finals night. Great drama here at the Super Series. It's very rare you get a 9-dart shootout. We've only had a couple, but he was involved in one of them.
140.
And if you want to be here, up close personal, maybe witness one yourself, just scan that QR code. Tickets available for Saturdays at the Super Series here in Portsmouth.
45.
Free of charge, but for a very small booking fee. And that QR code will take you to dartshop.tv, where you can secure your spot at any of our Saturday sessions. Get your 7:30 start in
100.
Portsmouth on Saturday night.
It was their final county weekend of fixtures at the weekend, and Dan, a regular for Berkshire A, and he's posted some really good averages for their A side. So he came here with confidence and a little bit of form.
He's clearly a decent player, particularly in a short format as well. I mean, he's qualified several times for the UK Open as an amateur qualifier, no less than 4 times, in fact, Dan Reed.
95. Daniel required 36.
Now, can he get a leg in the ledger here? And again, he's got the same kind of problem, different doubles, but can't afford to come inside, and has come inside, and that
No score.
is now
He require 101.
Dan Reed's 9th missed dart double in this match. Well, he might rescue it. Would have been
81.
ironic. Shewan getting rid of the
Danny
1
required
first, then
36.
finding the treble 20. Right, Reed, can he finally land a double? Missed his first 9. But
Game's
gets
on the
there in the
fourth leg.
end, and it's
Dan
been a
Reed.
long time coming. But that is actually the 500th leg that Dan Reed has won in history at the Super
So if it
Series.
gets Dan to throw first, game on.
He might feel like he's played 500 legs in this match alone.
Yeah, and as you said there, he's been leaving doubles
60.
that don't break down well. When you can't hit them, but there's an argument, although you might not like the 16s route and you may be a tops man, because of the breakdown
100.
and try and get some confidence, you just leave routes that break down and don't give you trouble.
$100.
And great darts here from Shewan.
140.
No, Reed's missed all those darts at double in this game, but for one leg, really, this has been a decent match, hasn't it?
34.
Just that one leg where both players were really messing around on doubles, but other than that, I think both players have shown
81.
that they can fight it out for a place at finals night.
Yeah, completely agree. And it's a big game for Lee Shewan, because when you lose that opening game,
100.
it's so important that you don't back it up with another defeat, because then you're chasing. So that 2 points, if he can see off this game, will give him confidence heading into the rest
60.
of the night.
$81. They require 120.
So, to seal the first win of the night, Lee Shewan lost his first game. That
100.
dart got in the way, and how many
And
times will we see it? And
126.
how many times will we talk about the modern player maybe needing to utilise the flatty or a different way? Little target.
77. They require 20.
So, double 10 to seal a 4-1 win. Now he's chasing up to 5s. That looks a good guide just to come off of it.
10.
It's gone the wrong
And
side.
49.
He gets more opportunities. Doubles have not been his friend so far. That one's at least out of the way.
29.
He over-adjusts. And
You're
now Lee
required
Shewan can
10.
adjust the scoreline to 4-1 and pick up his first points of Group B. And he does
Game shot and
exactly
the
that.
match.
Lee Shewan
Lee
claims
Shewan.
a convincing win against Dan Reed, who suffered double trouble throughout that game, missing a dozen at the outer ring, well, one at the bullseye as well, that was closer to the outer ring in truth. Lee Shewan, just the 80 average, but his missed doubles playing a part in that. Both will be going back to the practice boards. I'm sure that is the department they'll be sharpening up on. But Lee Shewan has at least picked up points tonight. Having lost his first match, he's won his second. He sees off Dan Reed 4-1. Coming next, it's Patrick Matt against Steve West.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. Before the break, Lee Shewan picked up his first points of the evening session by getting the better of Dan Reed by 4-1. So, into game 4 of our evening, and it sees Patrick Mark back in action. up against Steve West. Both players won their opening games of the evening. We're now going to delve a little bit deeper into Steve West's statistics here at the Super Series. He made it through to Champions Week last time out, and he did so with a running average of 88.7, 33%, 1 out of 3 when it came to the doubling. So very impressive stuff as far as Steve West is concerned. And have a look at that percentage of legs won, just under 60% all told. So it is a battle of England against Holland in the company of Phil Bars and Chris Murphy.
Yeah, thank you very much, Henry, and really did make great reading that, didn't it? Steve West, 60% of his legs won. And for me, the clear favourite to win this group. And if maybe the odds compilers didn't agree before a dart was thrown, they will now after the opening performances from both him and the man that they priced up at the same price, Dan Reed, who was really woeful on the outer ring in the opening encounter, in contrast to Steve
first
West,
against
who
Patrick
was
to throw
fantastic
first.
in his
Game
4-1
on.
win against Daniel Lee.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that price at the start of the day looks even more, a little bit more stupid after the opening round of fixtures from both players.
Yeah, West was
95.
easily the best performer in the opening encounters, though. Patrick Mart did win his match as well. A 4-1 win against Lee Shewan, who's added some points to his tally, and the Dutchman is not dithering around in this one. He's found a treble with every single dart. One was treble 1, but to the treble, isn't it?
45.
I think he gained a little bit of confidence from that opening win to banish those demons.
180.
Which is incredible. He's at 9 trebles and not bust.
I think it's safe to say this average will come down in a minute.
97.
Yeah, even if he hits a double, that is fact.
Game shot on the first leg.
The trebles
Patrick Mart.
and the doubles. Not one single number hitting that leg by Patrick Mart, who wins it.
Second against Steve to throw first.
11 darts. It was interesting as well that he stayed there to hit his second 180. He could have gone away for treble 18, left a more conventional double, but just backed himself for the maximum.
An absolute super start to this game from Patrick Mart.
There you see, 2 180s in that opening leg.
100.
Not the score. It says it was over 100, but it was in fact 1, 2, 3. It was almost a 180 himself. Of course, he wouldn't have hit 3, or it would have just been silly, wouldn't it? West gets 3 in a bed.
180.
I think Owen Binks may need some lozenges after this game.
60.
He started the game with his own voice and ended it with Russ Braze. One of the iconic voices of darts. Here comes another one, just like the other ones.
180.
Soothers on standby, Owen.
We're only in leg 2, and already we've had 4 maxes.
Stevie require 84.
If I hadn't been sat here watching it with you, Phil, I'd accuse you of lying. Well, 11 darter for one player. Steve West answers
Game
with
the
a 12.
second leg. Steve West.
And it's another decent combo finish as well for West, so that will be encouraging for him.
So like it's Patrick to throw first. Game on.
It'll be interesting to see how Patrick reacts, because
100.
his 11 darter was the opening leg, but when someone fires back a 12 at you straight away, it makes you stand up and think.
97.
Incredible that both players have had back-to-back 180s in this game. Just see how
83.
Patrick was able to use a dart just below that there, even though his dart stand up a bit, because it was next to it. He brushed it in off the barrel.
That first dart looks absolutely plumb.
99.
He'll be disappointed with that visit.
Yeah, went from an easy kind of shot to a hard one when he put one underneath it.
60.
Patrick persevering to no avail. West may start on the 18s on this shot. Does so.
162.
He can hit 3 in any treble.
He's got such a good maths brain as well, hasn't he, Steve West? Proper old school, knows his way around the board.
143.
Well, no finish for Patrick Mart. No treble won't matter because of that for Steve West. Who's looking
93.
to break the throw here. That's after Patrick went ballistic in that opening leg.
95.
50
Stevie required 50.
to break the throw. Is he? Oh, I wondered. 2 darts at tops. The first one's high.
10.
And the second one doesn't
Patrick
threaten
required
either.
68.
Has he just passed up a golden opportunity?
1 dart for Patrick Mart.
52.
Fails to
Stevie
find the double.
requires
West will
40.
return for Old Faithful. Missed 2 at it already. Double 10. You can see it shift the wire there.
Game shot on the third
He
leg.
uses it as a guide.
Steve
and
West.
gets himself in front.
And a rare show of emotion from Steve West. We got the fist pump there, Murph. He doesn't give away
Well,
too
it's
much,
Steve
but when he
to throw
does,
first.
you know
Game.
it means something.
Yeah, very, very decent game of darts, this one so far. Both playing in the 90s, as you can see. 4 180s in that
77.
electric start to the match.
100.
Yeah, West with a 2-1 lead.
$60.
It's a very good 60. The
Yeah,
grouping.
It's one of the things that I talk about a lot when it comes to Steve West, that grouping. He's one of the
81.
greatest groupers in world darts, always has been. The problem for Steve West is he seems to group wherever his first dart goes. Just seems almost incapable of making that adjustment. And they'll just all land in a straight
58.
line. Almost magnetised.
Someone checked his darts.
60.
It's not too often he goes trebleless for 2 visits in a row. And right on cue,
99.
find something.
You can see the disappointment there that he hadn't followed, because that is the big feature of his game. When he finds a treble with 1 dart, he usually finds at
60.
least 1 more. But he's in a good position still. 2-1 to the good. He's got a break to boot, and he's still in command of this leg, really. Certainly now.
100.
Yeah, what Patrick Mart would give for a maximum here to leave double 10. It's not going to happen.
45.
And he's made a mess of it.
107.
107 for West and 3-1. I'm not sure on that route.
43. Patrick 155.
Yeah, I wonder if Patrick Mart had been on something small, or whether that would have just swayed his mind a little bit.
43.
Imagine that the first start here will
Stevie
be over treble
requires
8.
64.
Got the bonus of 16s below it. I think he just went in between the 2, to be fair, but he does leave tops in the end.
24.
Fails to find it. A chance here for Patrick to pick his pocket.
Yeah, and in his first round game, his finishing was immaculate. Only 25%
58.
at the moment. 2
Stevie
from 8.
required 40.
Old Faithful has deserted him so far.
Can he find it this time? Yes, he
Games on the
can.
4 flag. Steve West.
And Steve West is in a very, very strong position already in Group B. 1 leg away from winning his second match
5th leg, it's Patrick to throw
of
first.
the night. Look at Patrick Mart as well. He can't wait to get the leg started. We do have that sort of 10-second
100.
delay between legs here at the Super Series. You who have watched for a while will be aware of it. And Patrick Mart there, he was just waiting and waiting at the hockey.
Chomping at the bit to get going.
60.
By the way, if you are with us this evening, do get in touch. At MSS Darts is the social media handle. You can see it there
99.
underneath the scoreboard, the bottom of your screen. Tweet us and we will engage with you. And a few of our usual correspondents have been in touch
100.
tonight. Lee Seymour, for one. He's bigging up the co-commentator. No, not you, Phil. He's saying how well Scott Mitchell did earlier this week.
33.
Completely agree with him. Thought Scotty was fantastic.
Not done too bad yourself, mate.
Why, thank you.
Do you have someone disagreeing with you, though? They think that
180.
Dan Reed's throw is superb.
59. Stevie require 161.
Right, West wanting 161. Well, he might go for the bull now. I actually
90.
was going to say the second dart. In that position when he blocked it, it might have been a good idea to go for the bull second dart. Then he knows where else he can go on the board with a third.
100.
Yeah, I agree.
Stevie requires 71.
But 71 to seal a 4-1 victory. 18 for tops to win it. And win it, he does. Steve West goes back-to-back in Group B, moves on to 4 points and top of the table. 4-1 win, 88.46 average from simply Steve West. Coming up after the break, it's the Battle of the Dans, Dan Lee against Dan Reed. We'll see you all in a minute.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Steve West continues his scintillating run of form with a second 4-1 win of the evening. This time beating Patrick Mark by that score, a game dominated by Maximum's 5 all told. But it's West who picks up the points. Right, next up is a battle of Daniel and Dan as Lee takes on Reed. And watching this, it's Murph and Bars.
Thank you very much, Henry, and welcome back, everyone, here to Group B on this Thursday night. There we see Dan Lee, 36 from Birmingham, coming through the ADC qualifying route. And he takes on Dan Reed from Thatcham. Be interesting to see how Dan Reed bounces back here, because it was a doubling disaster last time out.
Yeah, just 1 from 13 in that 4-1 thrashing at the hands of Lee Shu and himself. Missed 11 darts at double in that game. Lee himself went down 4-1, but he can be forgiven for that at the expense of Steve West, who was excellent in that first match.
Okay, first leg is Daniel Lee to throw first.
In the previous
Game
encounter
on.
Against Patrick Mart, which started with a real bang, 4 180s in the first 2 legs. It's looking like West is going to be the one to run away, and the rest of them are going to scrap
58.
it out for the next 2 spots. And that's an early call, but to be honest, it's a call that we kind of made before a dart was even thrown.
Yeah, we said that Steve was the class act
85.
in Group B, and after 2 games, it's proving that way.
Which one of these then do you think will be coming into this match with the most confidence? They've both lost their first game
83.
4-1, but do you think one of them will have a bit more of an air of optimism about them?
Yeah, for me, Dan Lee. The doubling was a concern for Dan Reed. The scoring phase was okay.
60.
I've seen him score a lot heavier, but it was the doubling that was the concern, where Dan Lee played okay. Again, in his mind, he knows he can play better.
140.
But I think he'll be the happier out of the 2.
Daniel Lee is making decent progress in the opening leg. It's something about Reed for me that just doesn't look massively comfortable tonight. You can see perspiration on the brow. You can see him shaking his head.
100.
He looks all hot and bothered.
Yeah, maybe he's putting a little bit too much pressure on himself as well. That we all know the rewards here at the Super Series, and yes, they are fabulous. But maybe just try and chill, enjoy it, and the performances will come.
135, Daniel, 120.
Yeah, maybe a couple of defeats and we might see a sort of relaxation. You never know, could have looked at that screen in the practice room, seen himself as joint favourite, and that might be where the pressure came from.
Completely
80.
agree.
And you're
We've seen
136.
pressure do funny things to many players at the highest level.
Well, now he could alleviate some of it. Not to be, though, so Lee will
96.
return looking at tops to take
Daniel,
the
you're
opening
required
leg on
40.
throw.
It's not really a marker. Dragged inside last start, looking at 10s to save the day.
Game's on the first
And
leg.
10s
Daniel
comes
Lee.
to Daniel Lee's rescue for a hold in leg 1.
By the way, the pink he's wearing on his shirt.
Second against Dan
apparently,
Reed to throw first.
little tribute to Scott Mitchell, who said great things about Dan Lee. He was particularly purring over his beard when he was here earlier in the week.
180.
Dan Reed purring now.
I'm a fan of the polo shirt look. I'm not going to lie, that everyone seems to have a dart shirt these days.
83.
And Daniel Lee's just gone old school and gone, just going to whack a polo shirt on.
A very nice one as well, Phil. Hang on a minute. Well, starting to look a little bit more comfortable,
83.
but again, he's 4 perfect darts and he's leaving the hockey in a good position, but with real anguish etched on his face.
I think that's a modern stroke younger day player
97.
mentality as well, where they see a ton as a bad visit when it's not.
Yeah, strive for perfection, and anything less is not acceptable.
83.
And even then, it's a couple of visits on the spin there of 83, but there were 6 good darts from Dan Reed. Just happened that one of them in each visit just shifted the wrong side of the wire.
54.
Yeah, look, just
Daniel
look at the top stars
155.
in Michael Van Gerwen, Gerwin Price and Michael Smith. They don't always hit. Sometimes a ton is a good dart.
Well, it's been a decent in of leg from Reed.
139.
And he's on double 8 for a 13 with Daniel Lee not really in sight in this one.
Yeah, it's been a great response from Dan Reed to losing that opener.
95.
It looks as if it's going to be a commanding holder throw.
And it requires
Maybe
60.
a bit of inexperience there, determinations to stay on the 20 when he he could have gone down for the 17s.
Game shot the
It's
second.
immaterial
Dan
in
Reed.
the end because Reed levels up.
You and I were looking at each other there, but on the first
Phil
two
against
missed,
Daniel
we
Lee
were
to
like,
throw first.
going
Game
to be
on.
darting deja vu again on the outer ring, is it?
43.
We've now seen every single player that we will see this week, Phil.
81.
Obviously, we're aware of Tommy Morris winning Group A. The question for you is who so far has stood out enough to make you think they're a candidate
99.
to lift the trophy on Saturday?
Obviously, Tommy Morris, the way he went through Group A and the manner of his performances as well, that he was fearless on
78.
that stage and he owned the stage as well. There was a real presence about him and the way he could shake off defeats. They didn't seem to worry him. So I like his mentality,
58.
what we've seen so far. But I have to say, Steve West, I think, is the class act out of all 12 we're going to see this week. But I think the Jack in the Box, and we spoke
60.
about her earlier, is Lisa Ashton, because she didn't perform particularly well for her immaculate standards in Group A, but today I saw
54.
enough to suggest there is a performance and a run coming from the Lancashire Rose. So for me, West or Ashton.
Yeah, it has got better as the week's gone on as well, Lisa Ashton. She actually did have a decent final day in Group A.
81.
He will return tomorrow, 1 p.m. on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel, exclusively the first 6 games, and then the run-in is available
96.
on Sporty Stuff TV from 3 p.m. in that group. And of course, we will return for the conclusion of this group on both of those platforms at 10 p.m. UK time.
85. Daniel, 151.
Going back to your original question, I think whoever beats Steve West could well go on and book a place in Champions Week.
West, even after just 2 matches, looking like the potential man to beat.
59. Daniel
Lee couldn't
160.
manage it. He lost 4-1 when he met West. Dan Reed will face West in the 8th game of the evening.
$92. Daniel require 92.
It's gone the aggressive route.
52.
Well, he will
Daniel
go his own
requires
ways, but
24.
that one with a dart in the 20 for me is questionable. He got the double 16, okay. But with 72 points to go, surely a couple of double 18s is a better option.
Yeah, I completely
18.
agree. And
Daniel require
let's see
40.
if Daniel Lee hits this first before I
Game shot
your
the third.
opinion on
No,
it.
he did the right
Daniel
thing.
Lee.
No, it goes back to on the 91 to 95,
For
going the
Dan
ball
Reed
route.
to throw first. Game on.
Play the percentages. I get that if you hit the treble, you're backing yourself and you're getting 2 darts out of double. But going the ball route,
85.
even if you miss, you've still got an out. And if you hit the 25, you're guaranteeing, as long as you can keep straight, a dart at the ball.
It's become kind of unfashionable, hasn't it, to go the ball route
140.
on those shots. I think Raymond van Barneveld was one of the first players to say, well, I'm going to back myself to hit a treble with one of my first 2 darts. But yeah, I get the point. I think for me, it
60.
just completely depends on the position in the leg.
Yeah, look, if your opponent's not on a finish, I completely get the aggressive
58.
route. But at that moment, when your opponent is on a finish, just guarantee yourself a chance.
Yeah, well, it's them with the darts in the hand, and they're entitled to throw them
59.
wherever they want. And in the end, no harm done for Lee opting for that route. But he should have really been starting on the 19s here. Having hit a
136.
treble 20 first dart, he was able to just rescue the visit. Most players on 303 would do it. He didn't look at the scoreboard until he'd thrown the first dart.
Man, you almost saw the look of horror on his face that when he hit the treble 20, he
60.
looked
And he recorded
and it almost
167.
registered, hang on a minute, I've gone wrong here. But he has got out of jail with it, but should have been downstairs first.
Now treble 17 would be the correct call, and he's
131.
found it perfectly. Nice little spell this from Daniel Lee.
Yeah. His throw was under some pressure, and now he's in the ascendancy to break.
85. Daniel, you require 36.
2 18s to do just that. Double 9.
28. Daniel, require 152.
This would be a roof raiser and a way to get yourself back into this game. But it's not going to go. Daniel Lee will be back.
95. Daniel, you require
Looking
8.
at double 4 for 3-1.
Down for 2s and the
on the fourth
left-hander.
leg. Daniel
Has
Lee.
opened up 2-leg cushion. Daniel Lee here putting Dan Reed in a world of trouble.
Fifth leg, it's
Remember,
Daniel
2
Lee to
matches
throw first.
in
Game
Group
on.
B is 25% of the games. To lose them both by big margins, it's not a complete unassailable disaster, but it's a bad start, isn't it?
99.
And like we spoke about earlier, that if you are trying to rescue that third spot come tomorrow, it could come down to leg difference, and 2 big defeats could leave you in a tricky
100.
situation in the leg difference column.
100.
Just looking at Daniel Lee, he's got an aggressive follow-through, isn't he?
Yeah, it just exudes confidence to me. The way he goes about things, the way he throws, the way he walks, Phil. Just has this
96.
sort of air of confidence, some would say arrogance, swagger maybe, just however you want to put
60.
it. He looks like a man who is certainly not afraid of any of his opponents.
Completely agree. I'd like to see him peacocking around that stage with the crowd on Saturday night.
Well, the one that sort of springs to mind is Adam Warner, and when the crowd came to support him, and they did, they travelled from
58.
Sheffield in their droves to be here in Portsmouth last December. He really did milk it, he won, and he's now got a PDC Professional Tour card.
Still one of my favourite Saturday nights ever at the Super Series. The Adam Warner
96.
Fan Club at the Live Lounge, tearing it up.
Almost literally, but the less said about that, the better.
I know you've commentated on the Pro
134.
Tour
Daniel, require
and the
98.
Euro Tour. Is he playing with his original darts or the ones that he got to get him through Q School?
Yeah, I think of
60.
the latter, actually. Phil, and
Daniel,
he's had some
you're requiring
decent
50.
performances as well. Came close to beating Michael Smith on a Euro Tour. Daniel Lee, they're looking to finish this one up. Is he going to follow in the footsteps of the man we just
30.
mentioned?
Daniel, require 38.
We'll tell the story if we get a chance. But match darts have come and gone for Daniel Lee.
Games on the
But
fifth leg.
Dan Reed extends
Reed.
this one back to 3-2.
Well, note that leg
Sixth leg,
down,
it's
a
Dan
couple
Reed
of
to throw
darts missed
first. Game on.
for the match by Daniel Lee. You mentioned Adam Warner there as well, Phil. He almost had no choice about playing with new darts because he actually lost one of his darts,
100.
didn't he, in those celebrations.
Yeah, lost it down one of the gaps in the stage, and to get under that stage is a bit of a mission.
39.
So he went to a dart shop and threw some, found a set he was comfortable with, went to Q School, got his tour card with them, but in the meantime, we retrieved his lost
45.
dart and returned it. So he does have both. So I was interested to see which ones he was currently using.
Yeah, to be honest, I've only
60.
seen him on the stream. Well, I've seen him at the Euro Tour. That's the only time I can remember him commentating on the stream, and I think it was the latter. If you're watching, Adam, tweet in at MSS
100.
Darts and tell us.
And also, I hope you're feeling better after being rushed to hospital to have your appendix out.
100.
Everyone was asking where the chinos were at the Pro Tour he missed.
Yeah, a man who has his own style as well. Let's see, there are more comparisons
100.
with Adam Warner and Daniel Lee. So now, we probably should go 18s here. And that's why he's just hit 2
Daniel,
trebles and hasn't
156.
left the checkout. Every day is a school day, Phil.
60.
Or as we call it, ferret counting.
You can almost see him thinking about it as well. It's interesting, and I think
96.
sometimes players
Daniel
feel the
required
pressure
96.
to get on with it and throw rather than taking the extra few seconds to work out what they need to do. What he needs to do is find a treble 19 that would have left him the double.
In the
40.
context of the
Daniel
match, that's a
required
shocker
66.
of a first dart, and will he pay the ultimate price? Double 18
48.
to win it, and it is another match dart
Daniel
that has
required
gone begging
56.
for Daniel Lee in Group B.
Yeah, that's 3 now missed to win this match, and Dan Reed
Game's on the sit
takes
flag.
it the distance.
Dan Reed.
The first time we've gone all the way tonight. First 4 matches, 3 of them 4-1 and 1 4-2. That was
7th
Patrick
and final leg.
Marks
It's Daniel Lee to throw
against Lee
first.
Shewan in the
Game
opener.
on.
Yeah, and right now a penny for Daniel Lee's thoughts, because he should be in the back room. The last 2 legs, he's missed 3 match darts across them. Will he pay the
27.
price? Because he has started with a very sub visit there.
And you mentioned earlier how sort of forceful that throw was. I thought those darts looked a little bit timid.
Yeah, compared to what we've seen.
25.
But it's not punished.
He'll try and punish that. If they let you off, make sure you
100.
don't do it back to them.
What is it Michael Van Gogh says? If you offer a finger, they'll take your hand.
Yeah, I think he's
96.
recycled that phrase and made it his own, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's changed it slightly, hasn't he?
like it, though.
85.
I'm not seeing anything phenomenal in this match, but Daniel Lee has been the aggressor. Don't forget, missed 2 darts 2 legs ago. Missed 1
85.
dart in the last leg. Could have been home and dry. Again, having to stop
141.
during a visit to check the score.
I think that comes with experience, that the more experienced players and pros check that before you address the oche and let your first dart
100.
go.
And you're 148.
Couple of options here. That's not one of them.
Was the single 5 not one of
43.
your chosen routes to go?
I wouldn't have gone that way myself. Can do that the next visit if he wants. 5, 60 tops. No problem.
40. And you're 105.
No pressure either, and that is the problem for Dan Reed.
No, he's got himself back into the game, but can't apply.
85.
Again, that release on the last start didn't look right to me.
155.
Yeah, a bit snatchy, wasn't it? And now Dan Reed has a chance to snatch the match. It would take a whopper. Oh, but it's not on. He was pretty close to that treble. Well,
And
Lee
you
now has
require
missed 4
20.
darts to win this game. Make that 5. But he gets there in
shot
the
and
end,
a
and you have
match.
to say he
Daniel
deserved the
Lee.
win. He went the distance, Reed fought back, punishing missed match darts by Daniel Lee. But in the end, he did pass the checkered flag and picked up the point. A 4-3 success for him, his first of the night. Dan Reed, joint favourite for this group, none from 2. When we return, Steve West, unbeaten so far, will take on Lee Shewan.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code.
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon.
Most certainly. Scan that barcode. We'll show it as well during our matches, and you can join us here at the Live Lounge for the Super Series. And what we've seen in the first 5 games has been some exhilarating stuff. Phil Bars has been watching it all in the commentary box. He joins us up here on the balcony. We can have a look at the results so far from this evening's action. And first things first, how impressive has Steve West been? 2 wins, dropping just 2 legs.
Yeah, we said up here at the start of play, Henry, that Steve was the class act within the field, tried and tested, and he showed that this evening. It's been unbelievable. The scoring power has been there. And in his first game, the doubling percentage was through the roof as well. So he's added everything to his game tonight, and he's going to take some beating in these final 2 games.
Elsewhere, Patrick Mark, can he be pleased enough with his effort so far? You know, he's just picked up the 1 victory.
Yeah, look, the first one was important because he lost all 5 on the Wednesday. He had demons to banish, and he did that. Look, he ran into Steve West in fabulous form in his second game, but much improved from Patrick. And yeah, look, I think he can take a lot from it.
Well, let's have a look then at the table, at the halfway point of the group, because as you can see, Dan Reed's the only player yet to get off the mark yet, which is pretty much a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, and look, Dan's had chances. It's down to that doubling. I think he missed 13 in his first game, and we've just seen him there have chances against Daniel Lee. He was joint favourite coming into the night, and we said that was a little bit generous. But the good thing about this Group B is you've always got a chance because it's the top 3. He's going to have to find at least 1 win tonight to give himself a decent chance, but he's still there and he's still fighting.
As for the other 2 players, both with a couple of points on the board, and on this first night, we always talk about 2-2 records, don't we, just to really set yourself in.
Yeah, the important thing is don't lose all 4, because then you have got a mountain to climb. Although it's still possible to qualify, you need a little bit of luck along the way. So if you finish 2 from 2, you'll be relatively happy and you'll be in the mix come tomorrow. Anything better than that, and you've got a fabulous chance of making it here to the Live Lounge on Saturday night.
Well, Steve West's involved in our next game. He's taking on Lee Shun. What is it, do you think, about this particular format that suits Steve so much? Because every time he's played here, he's played well.
I think Steve's just a class act, full stop, and he's used to playing in every type of field going, whether it's best of 7s, 11s, or the longer format game. We've seen him do it on stages across the world. So this is just another stage, another environment to him. But because he's got that experience, he can adapt and adjust to anything in front of him.
Well, last time here, he made it through to Champions Week, and he came oh so close to making it to Champions Night. It went all the way down to the wire. It went to a last leg decider in the end. And Justin Hood, who had no hopes of qualifying, well, he stopped the hopes of Steve West qualifying for Champions Night, which, look, it's going to serve as real motivation for Steve.
Yeah, look, the disappointment was there. Steve West was one of the class acts in our last series and just missed out. And it's the fact he had multiple darts to book his place there. But look, he's bounced back strong here. We've seen him do superbly well in the ADC Vault series that he's played in. And the partnership with the ADC is really working. Steve West is doing the business there, and he's doing the business here tonight in Group B.
Can he continue to do the business, though, against the Cobbler? Big shoes to fill, then, with our referee Owen Binks in charge of the action. Phil Bars is going to get his shoes down to the commentary box to join Chris Murphy.
Yeah, and I've got my feet up down here, Henry. Really enjoying a nice relaxed evening, watching some darts. And Steve West, well, he can relax, can't he? You talk about 2 from 4. He's 2 from 2. Fabulous start to the night for him. Lee Shewan hoping to get to 2. In terms of victories, if he can be the first to get the better of the 48-year-old from Waltham Abbey. It says last 16 at the World Championship, career best, but he's got other runs that would rival that. Quarter-finalist twice at the European Championship and once at the UK Open. No doubt that he is the most experienced, highest achieving player in this field of 5, and it's bearing out in the results.
Okay,
so
first I get
far
Lee
tonight,
to
and
throw
the performances
first.
as well.
Game on.
Steve West has racked up 4 180s in a couple of victories. 4-1 against both Daniel Lee and Patrick Mart. Lee Shewan lost to Mart in the open of 4-2, but then got the better of Dan
80.
Reed.
Win
100.
here for Steve West would have him halfway there, 1 foot in the finals, you'd say, Chris.
Yeah, well, you mentioned being relatively happy if you
140.
get at least 2 wins out of your 4 matches on a Thursday. 3 wins and you are very happy. 4 wins and you're delighted. You know that you usually
100.
1 win away from qualifying. Then when you come back on the Friday, the only way that wouldn't happen is if all the results from the previous night got reversed and you ended up actually
45.
losing all your matches, or all the players finished on the same amount of points.
And we need to get the abacus out.
Yeah, still hasn't happened in a group yet, but it's bound to, isn't it?
59.
The amount of weeks we play, 50 weeks a year, we're going to get a group where you've got to split every single player on something other than points.
I remember going back that we'd never had a 9-dart shootout. We did a couple of
58.
close encounters, and in the end, once we had 1, 2 and 3 followed.
Yeah, at least you're involved in one of those. We have come close as well. We have had days where all the players have picked up the same number of points.
60.
Just think that Lee Shewan's one of those characters where the early part of this game is vital, that Steve West doesn't get in front, doesn't start bullying and dominating him up there. Otherwise, it could be
92.
quite a short encounter.
118.
Good thinking there from Steve West. Good dart, that. Really good dart from Lee Shewan. That was difficult to get past. Double 19 is a target.
80.
Couldn't quite get there. Well,
Steve
Steve West really,
Require
you would
90.
think he'd go treble 20 here, but he possibly could start on ball. No, he's definitely treble 20. And it's the ball at the end instead. Oh, he
Game shot
pins
the
it. That
first
has
leg.
got to hurt.
Steve West.
He enjoyed that one as well. We saw the fist pump from Steve
So
West.
Steve to throw first.
Everyone loves a
Game.
bullseye finish. 90 and a break of throw in the opener.
140.
And I feel you dabble in throwing darts yourself and have been a bit of a, well, I'll put it politely, geek in terms of
180.
the actual equipment. Have you ever tried throwing Steve West darts?
Yeah, I did last time he was here, and they are one of the most grippiest darts
Yeah.
I have ever picked up
100.
in my life. And when you speak to him, it took him 2 years to design that barrel to get the grip right. But oh my word, it almost took
97.
the skin off my thumb.
Yeah. Modelled on cheese graters, those ones. You can't really tell from looking at them close up, but they're so grippy.
180.
But he's certainly got a grip of them, hasn't he?
Yeah, what we'll try and do either today or tomorrow, we'll try and get an up-close picture and get it out on our social platforms
96.
on Twitter
Stevie
and Instagram,
Require
so you
81.
can have a look. They're a lovely dart, but the grip is very unique to Steve West.
Double 13 here for a dozen dart leg.
Game's
Brilliant.
on the second
Absolutely
leg.
brilliant. And you
Steve
called it
West.
right. Shewan simply had to get in front to avoid this kind of blitz that he's experiencing here. He had 1 dart double 19
Philip
at the end of the
Leeds to
118
throw
combo
first.
in the opening
Game
leg.
on.
To be fair, he left himself a 128 checkout in that leg, but Steve West is getting better and better as the night goes on.
Yeah, and this is worrying signs for
41.
everyone else here in week number 5. Steve West is really laying down a marker to the rest of the field that he is here. He means business, and he wants that place in Champions
100.
Week.
Yeah, 5 180s tonight now for Steve West, including the one in this match. And Lee
100.
Shewan's played okay himself in it.
Yeah, Lee's averaging almost 89 at the moment, doing absolutely nothing wrong, but he can't.
100.
Just can't get near the Steve West scoring power right now.
Yeah, missed that dart, as we said, in the first leg, and then he was on 128 after just 9 darts in the second. West, though, is doing what he did in the first match as well with the finishing. 2 from 2, including that brilliant bullseye.
Yeah, and he's threatening the double break here.
100.
We were talking earlier how good he'd been on his own throughout the Super Series. Well, he's good. Whoever's throwing first tonight, maybe have to update those stats, because his legs won percentage is going to be going through the roof. It was already around 60.
We see so many fabulous players here at the Super Series, but in terms of just absolute A games, we're not going to see many better than Steve West, are we?
Stevie Rock 120.
Yeah, there are a few that we could sort of discuss in the same vein. We'll come back to that, because Steve West is about to take out 120, even when he's blocked half the bed. No doubt about this.
100.
Oh, Steve.
Stevie Rock 142.
I know this is bold, but this probably has to go.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it hasn't gone, because you know that Steve West...
85. Stevie Rock 120.
He's been hitting doubles tonight with 3 in hand. Should not have any trouble
Games
at all.
on the third leg.
In fact, only
Steve
needs
West.
1 dart at double 10.
Lee Sheeran's just giving him a pat on the back.
Steve to throw first.
Lee knows how good this is, and he stood behind it, seeing it firsthand.
We mentioned earlier, didn't we, that Lee Sheeran was part of the very first 9-dart shootout that
57
happened here at the Super Series. A couple followed quickly. Chris Mason involved in another. That first one was actually won by
97
semi-finalist Ryan Finesse.
Remember it well. Also, I know he watches a lot. I remember the realisation on his face when Richie Howson realised the grave mistake he made not going for the 25 on his last dart.
180.
Yeah, those 9-dart shootouts are interesting. Andy Hamilton actually was involved in one, wasn't he? And he was the only player who'd ever been involved in one elsewhere, having been involved in 2 at the Grand Slam.
Our friend and colleague as well, Chris Mason, couldn't get off that stage quick enough once he realised his job was done. It's like 100. An Olympic sprint back to the practice room.
After 9 darts in this leg, he's amassed plenty of points, and he was won 128 in a leg earlier after 9. He's on 124 after 9 in this one. He will get a go, but if he doesn't hit it, beware, because Steve West could easily take out 160. If the first dart goes in the treble 20 here, I'm going to say it now, he wins the match with a 160. I'm glad he missed, because could have made me look silly, couldn't he?
100.
Again.
Lee requires 68.
But again, this 68, will he get 1 or 2 darts? It's only going to be 1. This has to go, Lee Sheeran.
52.
And it doesn't. You feel the writing is on the wall.
West looks north. To the top of the board. Now that double 10 again.
50. Lee requires 16.
Lee Sheeran gets a second chance.
He thought it was in.
He's walking.
Well, he does find a way. Fair play to Lee Sheeran, because that can be unsettling. Not just because the dart's so close to the double that it's actually obscuring some of the target, but the fact that he thought it was in already and stepped forward means he had to reset, refocus, get over the disappointment of the miss, and then land the double itself to break Steve West, which hasn't been an easy task tonight.
No one's got a divine right to win legs, but on the balance of play, Lee Sheeran deserves something from this game. 4-0 would have been harsh, because so far he's played his part in a very good game.
Yeah, and don't forget, of course, in a group like this where it looks like one player is going to run away, your margin of defeat to that player could matter when it comes to the end of the group.
140.
Every leg can matter, and very often in a Group B in particular do you see players in, say, 3rd and 4th on the same points and it coming down to leg difference.
Yeah, completely agree that every leg could be pivotal in this Group B.
140. 60.
And it is a visit without a big treble. And the Lee Shewan throw is under the cosh again. And you can see by the look on Steve's West face, he can't believe dart 2 hasn't nestled in the treble.
60.
Well, that was a break of throw in the previous leg, as mentioned by Lee Shewan, so he could give West a thing or two to ponder here. And that 180 will certainly aid his cause. Actually, the third that Shewan has hit in this match.
93. He requires 75.
It's a fabulous first dart. Come inside 12s. Now he's chasing 6s.
No score.
And that's wild. And you can see by his reaction, he knows that could be a huge mistake in this game.
Yeah, after that first dart. 18s maybe, yeah. Well, it goes ball second dart. I mean,
68.
With Shewan on 75. Granted, it's 75. That should be a lot smaller, but I'm not sure about that from Steve West going for a smaller target.
No, not for me.
Right. He's having to check this time. You know what double to go for. He went for the right doubles. Don't give yourself the same problem. He doesn't. And he hits. And this game is getting a little bit interesting.
And I have to say, I like that composure from Lee Shewan, that he knows
Steve to
he almost threw them too quickly the visit before, and that time it was just set yourself, compose, find the target.
You could see in the background there, just
100.
almost kind of in his own mind, throwing that previous leg away. Just chucked it into the
85
arena. Said, forget about that. I know you made a mess of it, but you won it. Now, if he can win this one, he would have the throw in the decider.
Yeah, it's just giving Steve something to think about here, because
100.
at 3-0, he looked comfortable. Now Shewan is involved in this game and dragging Steve West into a dogfight.
55.
West, look, the average almost 10 points higher than that of Lee Shewan. But if it does become a dogfight, if he does become embroiled, then that is certainly a deficit that
57.
you can still win a match from, isn't it?
Absolutely.
3 180s as well for Lee Shewan. Just puts West on a bit of notice that he can get into a leg from anywhere.
83.
Yeah, and especially playing on a stage with a referee, if you're playing just a normal game and there's no caller, you might not know your opponent is banging in the amount of 180s or the big scores. But Steve West will be fully aware of what damage Lee Shewan is doing.
Oh, I thought that was going to be
25.
the most sublimely timed maximum of the lot, but West gets a chance to win the match. Another in there. The double 12 would have been a wonderful way to win it, but now Shewan needs a big one of his own to stay in it.
There's one. Treble 19. Oh, he's the wrong side of the wire. And by his reaction, I think that felt good when it left the fingers.
I think he felt he was in the ascendancy as well. It's almost like he wants this match to go on a little longer, like he wishes it was best of 9, best of 11. He's really getting going in the game. Double 6.
18.
4 match darts.
He requires
have come and
79.
gone for Steve West in this leg. Will he get another 20 and tops to send us all the way? And we are going all the way. Lee Shewan is back level at 3 apiece, and he has the darts in the decider after Steve West missed 4 match darts.
7th and
leg
final
6.
It's Lee to throw first. Game on.
Well. Steve West has let slip. 3-0 lead.
45.
All square. Shewan has the darts in the decider. We have seen it happen a few times. In fact, 3 times this week. We've seen 3-leg leads squandered.
140.
Tommy Morris did it a couple of times. I think he also won a match from 3-0 down as well.
59.
Yeah, Tommy was getting his money's worth in Group A.
Yeah, got through. Couple of days off. Wouldn't let him take your dog for a walk, though, would you? Can't hold on to a lead.
100.
Classic Murphy in action.
Well, Steve West will be hoping to get a grip on this one because he is a player, isn't he? And I say this with the greatest of affection for the man, but he does find ways to get embroiled. And he was on easy street in this group just 2 minutes ago.
140.
Maybe too easy, and that was the issue, that at 3-0 up, he was thinking 4-0. Back to the practice room I go, feet up.
40.
But he's bounced
Stevie
back
Rook 121.
so well here in leg 7.
Well, if he's going for that, he's going for the bull, surely.
81.
I don't understand the logic.
Yeah, me neither.
If you're never going to go for it, dart 1 should have been at the 25 to leave 96.
92.
In
Stevie
the end,
Rook
he does end
40.
up on his favoured double. As West fails to find it, but
Good
he does
shot
get
and
the
a
job
match.
done in the end.
Steve
Lee Shewan
West.
came roaring back into the game. A really good game it was actually from the off, despite West winning the first 3 legs. Shewan was in good positions in the first couple of them, but he couldn't complete the great escape. West wins it 4-3, a 93.27 average. Look, it's decent from him when you look at the numbers, but he was worried by Lee Shewan, though it does mean that Steve West maintains his unbeaten start. 3 from 3 coming next. Patrick Mart against Daniel Lee.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Steve West was definitely on the meter, wasn't he? A 4-3 victory against Li Shu and getting over the line in the end after going 3-0 up. A 93.27 average, mainly because of the fact he hit 15-ton-plus scores in the game. His treble scoring was prolific. So that is a third victory of the night for him. Next up for us, it is the meetings between Patrick Matt and Daniel Lee. And watching this one in the commentary box, here's Phil and Chris.
Thank you very much, Henry, and welcome back, everyone, as we pass the midnight hour and move into Friday morning here.
Okay, first leg, it's
at the Live
Patrick to
Lounge.
throw first. Game on.
Yeah, and just before we get into this one, I know a few of you have been getting in touch with us on social media at
96.
MSS Darts on Twitter, and we thank our good friend Simon Rimington. I know he's involved in
44.
refereeing and emceeing at some of the ADC events himself. And he's filled us in on some news. That's basically, Phil, you asked me a question earlier where I couldn't
125.
possibly get the answer right, because you said about Adam Warner, who we kind of drew comparisons to Daniel Lee with, asking me what darts he's using. He gave me two options, and well, neither of them was a possible answer, was it?
No, because he's got a brand new set. It's not the ones he played with here. It's not the ones he won his tour card with. But before he was ruled out of the last Pro Tour with his appendix,
59.
won a ADC Vault event in Leeds.
And Daniel Lee, an ADC Vault
95.
That's why he's here. Patrick Marr also
100.
representing the amateur dart circuit as one of the European contingent. It's been a great link and one that continues to grow.
Yeah, and it's only going to go from strength to strength with obviously ADC,
40.
UK, Europe, and now
121.
Australasia as well. The Oceanic region flourishing under the ADC.
57.
Well, Lee, a long way off the pace in the opening leg, but he can get down to similar territory with a good visit here.
177.
Or he could leave himself
Patrick,
on a double with a
164.
fantastic visit here. 16 or 8. And now the double.
32.
That's been a
Daniel,
bit of
you're
a flaw in
required
the Mark
20.
game, actually, when he's on sort of smaller combos. Hasn't
Games
tended
on
to
the
take
first
them.
leg. Daniel Lee.
Follows that fabulous 177 with the perfect dart, a double 10.
Yeah, and a leg he looked
Second against
completely
Daniel to
out
throw
of.
first.
Spun around in 4 darts. The 177 created the pressure, forced the miss from Patrick Mark. And from there,
180.
Daniel Lee has hit the afterburners.
Yeah, 7 perfect darts. 2 away here from the 9,
47.
Phil. Are you ready? Come on, Daniel. Oh, boo.
Misses dart 8.
96.
I mean, that's what we're sort of resorting to now. Conor Heenahan's still the only man to hit a perfect leg here in the Live Lounge in
140.
Portsmouth. In fact, he's done it twice.
Twice here, 3 in total in the Super Series. He did one in our Southampton venue as well,
60.
when we used to play in the shoebox.
So a question for us as well. I
96.
know if you get in touch, as I said, on Twitter tonight. Lee Seymour's asked about Thibaut Tricol, who we saw in Group C this afternoon. He says that he doesn't feel he's been his usual self. Do we think he's
45.
got the potential to improve?
Yeah, look, it's a big week for Thibaut, obviously playing here
But one
in
of
the
the
Super Series.
One of the words that leads
And
us
you're
to this question is maybe is the
120.
World Cup a distraction, something that's in the back of his mind.
Yeah, it could possibly be, because I know that the public and
100,
the players
you're
themselves
118.
in Thibaut and Jacques Labra have been wanting this for so long, to see France back in the World Cup of darts. Oh, hang on a minute. We'll
What a
come
dart
back to
that
that in a
was.
second.
Yeah, brilliant dart. Brilliant
Games on
finish.
the second leg. Patrick Mart.
What a finish that is. The second dart to
Well,
find
look, it's Patrick
the
to
treble
throw
when it looked
first.
blocked.
Game on.
And the difficult double 19, level at 1 apiece, 2 breaks of throw.
Yeah, all the pairings actually for the World Cup next week are now confirmed. Maybe one for Henry's Tungsten Teaser next week. How many of them have played at the MODUS Super Series? There you go, Henry. Done your job for you, mate.
140.
But I said earlier when we were talking about Tebow that perhaps he just doesn't come here in
96.
as much confidence and form that he has before.
Yeah, I was looking at his stats earlier this afternoon, though, and he's playing about 5 or 6 points worse than his average for the last 12 months in total over the course of this week. Big moment for French darts next week.
140.
Yeah, it's a time for them to flourish on the biggest stage of them all at the World Cup of Darts.
140.
Speaking of flourishing, there aren't that many big, well-known players from Birmingham, are there? Daniel Lee is maybe a little bit of a market here that he could exploit as the best in Brum.
I like that.
Don't like that.
The radar's not quite functioning.
22. Patrick 148.
Yeah, it's all gone a little bit wrong there.
Made a little bit of a mess of that, hasn't he?
56. Daniel, you require 62.
To rescue the situation. One dart at double 16 for a third consecutive break or throw.
Totally unsettled here. How that's got in, I don't know, because he's just stopping and starting every time. Didn't look sure of himself, but he got there in the end.
Fourth leg, it's Daniel to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, you may have seen a couple of times in this match, Daniel Lee, that he's been on a shot where he wants, say, 66 or 62, and he's hit a single 15 with his first dart. Now, you could be forgiven for thinking he's just pulled it in, going for the treble 10, but actually, he intentionally goes, he aims for the inside of the double 15, basically, so he's trying to go double 15 to leave another double, but plays it so safe that often it's 2 single 15s.
140.
Yeah, and I kind of get the logic behind it as well.
85.
Yeah, so we have seen some interesting things from him in particular, haven't we? I said 66, 62, did on a 70 check out earlier on, and one of the things thinking behind that is if you go the treble 10, miss it, then you leave 60, which is a shot that everybody is trying not to leave these days because they get blocked tops.
Yeah, the evolution of players thinking and finishing in the last few years has really come to the forefront of the sport. And those little margins can be so pivotal to big wins or big losses.
Yeah, that 60 finish is one that gets talked about a lot, and one of the routes is that flatty, isn't it? We've seen brilliantly from Owen Bates. The bull would be brilliant for Daniel Lee here.
101.
Was not a bad attempt either. Now, Phil Barrs likes the ball with the first start here.
I do. What do I know?
You're silly, Phil. Silly.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Patrick Mart.
4 breaks a throw on the spin in this game. They can't hold.
Fifth leg, it's Patrick to throw
first. It's been enthralling. The Daniel Lee average is still hovering around that 96 mark. Patrick Mart around the 90.
100.
Again, we've had 4 breaks, but 16 and then 3 15s on the spin.
Yeah, more than decent encounter. Daniel Lee, I mean, we mentioned, is he going to be the man from the Midlands? He's producing a very good
96.
level of performance in this match. 96.49 average will win you a lot of games on the professional tour.
Absolutely.
55.
It's an interesting setup he uses as well. There's not too many that play with the pair flight. There's been a few over the years, notably
134.
friend and colleague Glenn Durrant played his best stuff with that pair flight. But overall, there's not been too many.
Can only really at the top of the game
52.
at the moment think of Steve Beaton that still does.
Yeah, obviously back in the day, Phil Taylor did when he had the knitting needle darters. It was
138
branded,
and you're
and
170.
again, another friend and colleague, Paul Nicholson, had the cool under pressure ones.
60. Pledges you require 56.
Well, they'll be hoping it doesn't go pear-shaped here. Tops of the first hold of the
Game's
match.
on the
Patrick
fifth leg.
Mart finds
Patrick
it.
Mart.
Put himself a leg up and a leg away in what has been a really decent darting duel here at the MODUS Super Series.
Sixth leg, it's Daniel to throw first.
Two evenly matched players, nothing between them. You just have the feeling that this is going to go the distance.
Both have a match apiece to play after
99.
this one. Lee will take on Lee Shewan in the penultimate match of the night, while Mart faces Dan Reed in the curtain closer.
95.
Steve West will complete his campaign in the game that follows this as he looks to make it 4 from 4. And he faces the so far winless Dan Reed.
100.
Yeah, and at the start of the day, they were both joint favourites for Group
41.
B. I'd like to see the odds again at the start of tomorrow's play. I don't think they'll be joint favourites anymore.
Yeah, I think Steve West will be very, very short.
140.
Well, Lee has managed not to leave a finish, but it won't matter with Mart so far back.
100.
It's a rushed
82.
second dart, but rescued it.
Needs at least one treble. And now he's in trouble.
86. Daniel, you require 80.
Yeah, was looking for 5.19s to leave a finish.
50.
Not sure how much he could see of that with those first two darts stood up to attention.
And interestingly, because we see him move
99.
a lot,
Daniel, you require
even on
30.
open beds, and he didn't move that time.
Game's on the sixth flag.
But he
Daniel
has found
Lee.
that double 15 that he gets a lot of practice throwing at. Because he does it to set up finishes. This time he's finished on it.
7 for
3-3,
4
and
against
we do go
Patrick
the
to throw
distance.
first.
Yeah, the double 15 is an interesting one, isn't it? Because Michael Smith often talk about that being his favourite double.
96.
Yeah, there was a time when Smith would actually try and finish 9
123.
darters on that, but he's gone more conventional when it comes to the 1-4-1, hasn't he?
Yeah.
To be
95.
the 17s to the double 15, which you can kind of see the logic in.
Yeah, completely.
97.
Daniel Lee just in front, but it's not enough to be a chance yet.
85.
2 trebles would get him down to a finish. It's in, Daniel, it's in.
100.
Still Mart the favourite at this point, but he needs to find a treble. Has he?
58.
He didn't. It's only an enormous finish, and Lee's going to be in a much better position, whatever he hits here.
Well, that first dart, he's certainly going to be in a much better position.
100. Patrick
Leaves 81
167.
after 12, unless this goes.
You know, Lee could have chosen to go bull with his last dart then. If he hit the 25,
83.
he's definitely leaving
Daniel,
the
you
outer ring
require
rather than the bull
81.
at the end of it. Those small margins can make a difference.
He is going to get 2 darts at double 12. The 81 combo, clip the bottom wire, 6s, and
Game
finds
shot down
it.
the match.
Daniel
Lee
breaks in the deciding leg, and that's only fitting with a game that had so many breaks of throw. But it is Daniel Lee, a 4-3 win over Patrick Mart. 93.98 average. Super stuff from the Brummie. Coming up after the short break, we're going to have Steve West against Dan Reed.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Daniel Lee got through a last leg decider to get the better of Patrick Mart in the end by 4 legs to 3. Next up for us, it is the bookending battle in Group B as Steve West takes on Dan Reed. Steve West looking to complete the perfect night. Dan Reed looking to get on the board. Watching this one, Chris and Phil.
Thanks, Henry. Yes, it is a battle between the top player and the bottom player, but also a battle between the two bookies' favourites before a dart was thrown tonight, and it's been a real different tale for the pair of them. Dan Reed from Thatcham taking on Steve West, who is looking to go through the card and in doing so inflict a 3rd straight defeat on Reed, who will be hoping to avoid the complete opposite fate. Does, of course, have another match to play after this, but already a great night's work for West.
Yeah, and if he
Okay, first they get Steve to throw first.
Just looking at the leg difference
Game
already,
on.
Chris, Steve West is already on +7. The next best of that is Lee Shewan on 0. So it's as good as an extra point.
22.
Well, not the start that West would have hoped for there. The
58.
Taylor Swift.
It's a very niche reference.
Well, it's also 22 minutes past
59.
midnight as well. Can tell what I've got on my Spotify playlist for the drive home.
100.
Speaking, while we're on the subject of music, one of the real wrong things in darts is that this player here is a man who's nicknamed himself simply the West
60.
and then walks out to Don't Stop Believing. I just don't get it.
Have the Pet Shop Boys written all over it, doesn't it?
45.
And finally finds a treble,
100.
Steve, in this opening leg.
Bit of a slow start to this one for Steve. Not at the levels we've seen so far. Dan Reed will want to jump all over that.
100.
Plenty of room for another.
100.
Can't find it. Steve West does leave a finish, but Dan Reed could be in a handier position if he can find something here.
94. Steve, you're
We
160.
can see why he moved away after blocking it with 2 darts. But it does mean that he's only going to get a maximum of 1 at double.
140. Daniel, you're 104.
You will get that one. And it will be at tops.
84.
Clips the
Stevie
bottom wire.
required 20.
It's been his trouble tonight, though, hasn't it, Dan Reed? And Steve West has been pretty much the best in this department, but that's tricky.
It's not in, Steve. Up to 5s. Chasing.
15.
And that's the problem when
Daniel
you come
required
inside
20.
10s. Dan Reed to break. Now he's in the same scenario.
Game's on the
But
first
unlike
leg.
Steve West, Dan
Dan
Reed
Reed.
finds the double 5 and breaks in the opening leg.
Second against Dan to throw first. Game on.
It was just 4 out of 24 before this match on the outer ring. I suppose the one thing he can take from that is the amount of chances he's getting.
Well, yeah, that's the encouraging sign for
140.
Dan Reed. It's not as if he hasn't had chances in this Group B campaign so far. And look, he's got 2 games left. This one and closes the show.
140.
If he can come out with 2 points, he has something to chase. If he can get out with 4 points after the first 2 games, it'll feel like he's won the lottery.
97.
Yeah, it's one of those. He wouldn't have probably said that was a good result before the night started, but certainly will be feeling that way now.
100.
Look, still, if that were to be the case, he could find himself in a really good position and in the provisional qualifying spots.
Yes, apart
45.
from Steve West, it's a real open group still.
Even if he loses this match, Daniel Lee could beat Lee Shewan, and Reed himself could beat Mart, and he's actually tied for third place.
45.
2 points, and I think sometimes players are guilty in Group B of writing themselves off too soon. He'll hate me for saying it, but the week that Paul Nicholson played, he struggled, but so did another couple of players. And I think that he, because he wasn't playing well, didn't feel he could go through, but he was in it when he didn't realise he was.
180. Daniel requires 39.
So struggling here. 180's exchanged.
Game's on the second leg.
Interesting thing
Dan
there.
Reed.
Is Dan Reed changed his MO. He's very much been a tops and tens man all the way through.
So look at Steve to throw
Changed.
first. Game on.
To the bottom left-hand side of the board.
Yeah, could have gone for the 19, couldn't he, if he's sort of
180.
got in the middle and definitely plays it safe doing that. Steve West in amongst losing that second leg as it 180s either side, so we could see something rather rare
100.
here, which would be 3 on the spin.
There we have it.
180.
Steve West, 3 180s in 3 visits.
And you know what that means. 2 of them at the start of this leg to set up the prospect
100.
of
Steve,
perfection.
141
to land a 9-darter, not to beat. That after 9
87.
consecutive treble 20s. At 2-0 down as well, that's impressive.
It's just remarkable scoring power, isn't it?
131. Steve, you require
A
54.
couple of players have it 4 180s on a spin before. We'll come back to that in a moment as West looks for tops. Oh my, he may lose this leg. Well, he was on a 9-darter.
No
and now
score.
Dan Reed's looking for the maximum finish.
170.
What a turnaround this would be here in Group B.
No, he's looking for the big fish. He's only got a maggot.
39. Steve, you require 54.
Take 2 for Steve West.
Game's on the third leg.
No mistake
Steve
this time.
West.
Cuts the gap to within 1.
Steve Brown
Full
wants
wickets
it
down to
4
throw first.
180s in a
Game
row.
on.
180, 180, then his opponent went out and then he hit back-to-back 180s. And Mervyn King, a really good friend of Steve West, actually did it in the Las Vegas
41.
Desert Classic against Darren Young many years ago. It has been done here at the Super Series as well. Ryan de Vrede.
140.
We're just seeing the angle that the sort of player's eye view, and you can see the angle of entry there for Dan Reed's darts. He has the ability to stack the darts, but can go below
60.
the target as well. You see there Steve West, once he's put one below the treble 20 bed, it makes it very difficult.
Yeah, and if we're being critical, that Dart 3 probably should have been down at the 19s because he couldn't see an
60.
awful lot of that treble.
And now he can make the adjustment, and he does, and surely he'll slot one straight through the V into the bed.
140.
140.
I love that angle.
It's been fantastic from Steve West. A brilliant response to losing the first couple of legs, and it's just piling more pressure on Dan Reed, isn't it?
161.
Yeah, because Dan Reed will be thinking, I've thrown everything at Steve West here, and I can't get rid of him. He's not going away.
97.
Another good performance from West. Can Reed apply some pressure to this 64?
81. Stevie requires 64.
He'll aim for the wire here between the treble 8 and the treble 16. Now we'll go for the single 8. And now West will go north.
Game's on the fourth leg.
Absolutely
Steve West.
stunning from Steve West. He trailed 2-0, and the blink of an eye, a barrage of big scoring
Fifth wicket,
and some
Steve
clinical
to throw
finishing.
first.
The league
Game
leader
on.
is level.
Look at that, 3 maximums for West, 95 the average. He's in the gravy again.
99.
This is what we were saying earlier, Chris, that with the greatest of respects to the rest of this group, if Steve West goes to that place, I don't think the others have the game to live with him.
100.
Yeah, he's a cut above, isn't he? You look at his performances this evening, a 95.58 average in his opener. He hit a couple of 180s and a couple of three-figure finishes in this one.
180.
He's now at 4 180s to go with the 5 he'd already hit this evening.
Yeah, the others just don't have that scoring power in their arsenals.
100.
He's going to end up likely with an average north of 90 for the night. That is a really,
58.
really good standard. You look at most players who really threaten it, it's about 85 plus, isn't it, that winning players have over the course of a week for the average. Yes, there'll be deviations in that where maybe there'll be odd sub 80 and the odd
164.
higher than 100. But to do more than 90 in a night is an excellent standard.
Yeah, and it's the way he's done it as
64.
well, because there's a couple of times he's been in a bit of trouble and he just flicks the switch, the afterburners come on, and he breezes off into the sunset.
Yeah, this match a real example of that.
100. Steve, you require
The
100.
sunset is on the horizon for Steve West. He's taken out this finish once already tonight. And he's
Game
done
shot
it
on the
again
5th leg.
to turn
Steve
this tie
West.
totally on its head. Having trailed 2-0, Steve West now leads 3-2 and is one leg
Seven is
away
Dan to throw
from
first.
completing
Game on.
a perfect night in Group B.
Yeah, and legs of 14, 15 and 14 of Bamboozle, Dan Reed.
180.
Give him his dues as well. That's his second max of the match.
57.
Showing a lot of character here, Dan Reed, because after you've just had that thrown at you by Steve West, it would be all too easy just to roll over and say it's not my night. However,
140.
got a little bit excited then.
He has never hit a
140.
competitive 9-dart finish, Dan Reed. Steve West. I mean, we mentioned that he's
100.
averaging, in the high 90s here. He's actually got a stealing that's much, much higher than that, West. He's averaged more than 110 against his own brother.
134.
I'd love to have
and
seen the
you're
conversation
81.
after that.
Good response here from Reed as he tries to take it the distance. The bullseye beckons.
Game
Oh,
shot
and he
on the
finds
6th
it as
leg.
well.
Dan Reed.
Well, West still has work to do.
Stunning 12-dart leg from Dan Reed to send us all the way.
Seventh and final against
But you
Steve
feel
to throw first.
The man from
Game
Thatcham
on.
is going to have to do something similar on the Steve West throw here to bag the points.
100.
By the way, Steve West, if you were wondering, has had a couple of 9-darters himself in his career. One in 2020
95.
in a European Tour qualifier. Hit that against Benito van der Past, who we saw at the Super Series recently. And it's no surprise with the amount of maximums that this man can hit. 5 in this match now. His other one came in 2021, a PDC Players Championship against Portugal's premier player, Jose de
41.
Sousa.
Man that's not shy to a 180 or 3.
Yeah, record breaker, wasn't he, when he was in the Premier League?
60.
But West is making all the noise in this decider. So hard to break, so hard to beat.
140.
And even if he had
Steve,
filled it up, it wouldn't have been
161.
enough to leave a finish.
Is he going to go out in style?
136.
I don't know at what point he made his mind up there.
I think he was very torn, and I'm not sure right until the last minute at release point he was sure which way he was going.
100.
Does
Steve,
mean that he's only going
25.
to get 2 darts at double here when he could have left himself 3. Goes for double 8s. Gives the
9.
chance to Dan Reed.
Daniel
Now, is he going to
McGuire,
be made to pay for
125.
going for the bull? Reed certainly will be going for the bull here.
And an interesting shot there from Steve West. I don't know if you clocked it, Murph, But as he was walking back to the table, he gave himself the tap on the temple as if to say, think about it.
85.
Yeah, don't do that
Stevie
again.
requires
And
60.
he gets 3 clear to make it a clean sweep. Double 4.
12.
But it could be the one that got away for West.
Daniel require 40.
Big moment here for Dan Reid. Is that a good guide? The
Game
answer
shot on the match.
is yes. Steve
Dan
West
Reid.
missed multiple match starts to be perfect on night 1 in Group B and pays the price as Dan Reid picks West pocket. And we'll go back to that board management situation. 95.88 average from West, 91.25 from Dan Reid. Coming up, our penultimate match after this short break will be Daniel Lee against Lee Shewan.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Dan Reid has subjected Steve West to his first defeat of the evening, a 4-3 victory for Reid, despite 5 maximums from Steve West. But it was 10 missed darts at double, a multitude of them for the match, which sees him end in defeat. So it is a final game of the session for Dan Lee and Lee Shewan in the middle portion of the table. Watching this one, here's Chris, here's Phil.
Thank you very much, Henry, and welcome back, everyone. 2 games to go in this first night in Group B. And the leader has just been beaten. Steve West could and should have been perfect. Mismatched darts, and it just opens up this group for the chasing pack.
Okay,
But
first
he's
against
not out of
Daniel
sight
to
just
throw
yet.
first. Game on.
Yeah, well, before we get into this one, Phil, just maybe a little bit of opinion on how Steve West might be feeling right now, because he is the type of player we mentioned before who
83.
has been known to get embroiled. Well, what's happened there? Well, hang on a minute. Well, there's been an accusation here, I think, of clicking the darts or something. Well, Owen Binks is talking to the two players. I think Daniel Lee is saying that he can hear something from Lee Shuan's darts, and I'm not sure it's intentional. I don't think that's the accusation, but he heard something. It put him off. Owen Binks is having a word.
Yeah, and I'm guessing Owen heard it as well.
135.
Yeah, well, you can't go on a player's word, can he?
140.
That's interesting, and it might just create a little bit of an atmosphere.
$85.
It's one of those ones as well where on a Saturday night you probably wouldn't hear it.
$97.
It'll be interesting to try and get the lowdown on exactly what happened, if we can speak to either player or the referee himself after this game. But the thing, that kind of thing, what can happen is, look, I'm sure
58.
whatever happened, if there was a noise, and sounds looks like there was, because Owen, the referee, had a word with Lee Shuan himself. Sure, Lee Shuan probably wasn't aware of it.
136, then you're 123.
Feeling like you've been accused can actually have a couple of effects. It can either knock the stuffing out of you a little bit, cause a distraction, or it can make you think, right, mate, you're having it. Is he having this? Well, again, he's looked at Lee Shuan here. There's something amiss, and Shuan's sort of looked quizzically.
98.
This is going to escalate, I
They
think.
require 48.
Yeah, you could definitely see Daniel Lee look back that time as if he could hear something.
If Lee Shuan hits this, what kind of reaction will there be?
I think we'll get a celebration.
32. Daniel, you require 25.
I think there might be another conversation after this leg. Double 12 for Lee to win it.
Game's on the
And
first
this is
leg.
interesting now.
Daniel Lee.
Lee has won the leg. He said something else to Lee Shuan there. Well, it's certainly something in his direction.
Sending his Lee to throw first.
Yeah, definitely words exchanged
Game
there
on.
as Daniel Lee walked back.
Bit of needle here, and we haven't even got Peter Manley in the group.
100.
But the other thing it could do, it could cause Daniel Lee a distraction himself. Not the fact that
43.
Shuan's made any kind of noise, whether it's intentional or not, I'm sure it's not, but the fact that Lee himself is clearly thinking about that and not maybe thinking about
60.
where he's throwing his darts.
It'll be interesting to get the lowdown on what happened.
100. $59.
Seems to have settled now.
Well, I find this kind of thing fascinating. A lot of people sort of see it as
96.
unsavoury, but I think any little thing that sort of gives a match a different dimension.
Yeah,
100.
I'm with you.
Good to watch. It must be a difficult atmosphere to play in, and certainly a difficult job for the referee, that Owen Binks tasked with
81.
the thing, because people think that the referee is just a call or someone out there to call the scores, but actually they're in charge of the stage and discipline and everything that goes with it.
Yeah, and I've said it for a while.
100.
In the professional game, at times they're too nice to each other on stage. All this fist pumping when you hit a big finish, I'm like, nah, none of that, mate.
105.
We
Lee
had,
require 82.
Ryan Harrington in action this afternoon. His dad is one of the reasons why the exclusion zone's brought into place.
Yeah, I had to explain to Henry why the exclusion zone was brought in.
Yeah, never mind
57.
noises. It was
Daniel
literally
requires
kicking at the
76.
heels of their opponents back in the day. Right, Lee. What's he going to do here? I don't think he likes the lie of that dart. He's gone for the 16 anyway. And again, well,
36.
is the frustration at himself for missing
The
the big
required
number, or does he
25.
think that, again, he's heard something? We're just speculating.
We're just saying what we're seeing, but there was almost half a glance back.
I want to sort of see Schuhen hit this and see how he responds.
Game's on the second leg. Lee Schuhen.
Well, nothing from him in the direction of his opponent anyway. He's just getting on with his job, isn't he, Lee
So
Schuhen?
look, it's
Doesn't want to
Daniel
get
to throw
involved.
first. Game on.
At the moment, Daniel Lee is like a coiled spring.
He's got a real menace about him, hasn't he?
I like it.
60.
I'm a fan.
Well, it won't be the first time there's been a little bit of needle on a dart stage. Make no mistake about that.
140.
And with the World Cup around the corner, who can forget that incredible match between Belgium and Australia a few years ago when Paul Nicholson and Kim Huybrechts were having their own sort of
100.
fight, while Simon Whitlock and Ronnie Huybrechts were just not getting involved at all. That was remarkable.
Yeah. I love Paul to bits, but he's got form in the World Cup with Adrian Lewis as well.
58.
The list is long.
Oh yeah, mentioned Peter Manley earlier. Who can forget his little bit with Adrian Lewis at the World Championship?
133.
I still love watching that moment back to this day. And I'm all for the Peter Manley School of Dark Arts.
57.
And he swears that he doesn't do it. Although anyone who watched his match with Andy Jenkins here at the Super Series, that was the best spirited, bad sportsman-like game you've ever seen.
Yeah.
30.
It was funny at the last, not the World Championship, but the seniors event before at Hull. And Peter Manley was like, everyone's expecting me to do it. He goes, I'm just not going to do it because they're expecting it.
Well, whatever sort of sparked in that
85.
opening
They
leg
require
seems to have,
150.
I think, affected the way that Daniel Lee is playing more than it's affected the way that Lee Schuhen's playing. I'm not to say that's affecting the outcome of the darts, but he's certainly got an extra
57.
sort of
Daniel
determination
required
edge on his
93.
face.
Yeah, he looks very aggressive, doesn't he?
$53. They require 93.
Big moment here. It's either 25 or 57 would have left 36.
39.
That goes back to
Daniel,
my
you
point
require
about giving
40.
yourself an opportunity.
Game's on the third leg.
Daniel Lee
Daniel Lee.
hasn't passed up the opportunity. It's a holder throw, and he leads 2-1. But there is no eye
Well, it's Lee
contact
to
at
throw
all
first.
between the players, is there?
Game on.
And we mentioned that the referee's job is to also take charge of discipline. You could see Owen Binks making sure he was looking to see if there was anything untoward going on between the players.
180.
Now he has to concentrate on the primary job, and that is calling out the maximum. The first of the match comes from Lee Schuhen.
100.
And Owen's a young man in terms of experience and refereeing, but I like that he's got his eye on the ball. He's looking to see what's going on at all times.
60.
I still get the feel that this match, even though there's sort of been nothing exchanged between them since that first leg,
140.
certainly since Daniel Lee won it, that it could come to the boil when it comes to the crunch.
Yeah, at the moment it's just simmering, isn't it? And at any moment,
100.
any moment could just boil over.
$96. Lee require 161.
Well, now it's Lee Schuhen's turn to maybe make a meal out of something that he thinks Daniel Lee has done wrong.
Again,
65.
just, the naked eye watching that didn't see an awful lot wrong.
It was almost he was suggesting that he'd
29.
taken too long
Lee
retrieving his
require
dart.
96.
And by the letter of the law, his visit isn't over until he's retrieved his darts. Oh,
no score.
Well, that's not the first time that Lee Shuen's done something
And we
like that.
require
And this match
136.
has got plenty of late-night drama.
Another one of them.
Well, he hit the dart, didn't he?
96.
So that was well thrown. It was deflected.
They require
But Lee Shuen is
96.
back on 96 after busting his score by hitting the wrong double.
And this time, Daniel Lee is poised on tops.
56. Daniel, you require 40.
Can he find it? He
Game's
does.
on the fourth leg.
Daniel Lee is now one away from the win. He also has the darts in the next leg. Where's Lee Shuen gone? He's off.
Daniel
He's
to
gone.
throw first.
Oh, there he is.
Game on.
But he had enough for a moment there, Phil.
Using all the stage, didn't he? Found a nice little cool spot.
Yeah, well, from the red rag to the white flag.
139.
Couple of times, though, that loose dart didn't cost him earlier. He came back and took out the finish, but in this match, that wayward one into the wrong bed, busted his score, had to start the checkout again, couldn't complete it.
Yeah, and by the time that he had come back, Daniel Lee had
140.
manoeuvred himself into a match-winning position.
Well, we'll keep our eyes on the players at the end of this
42.
match, that's for certain. It's not often that we have had a bit of bad blood at the Super Series. I think one of the reasons for that is that you're spending so much time with each other. You're playing each other a couple of times at least in a week. You're spending a long time in the same practice room. It's not like a knockout tournament where once the game's over, you're gone and you don't see them again.
100, and you require 87.
Going to get a match start.
Game
And he only
shot
needs
and
the
the
one
match.
match start. Oh, it's a
Daniel
very,
Lee.
very frosty handshake from both. We're just going to see it out there. Owen's explaining there to Lee Shuen. But it is a 4-1 victory for Daniel Lee in our penultimate game. Coming up after the break, our final match, as we'll see Dan Reed against Patrick Mart.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Daniel Lee has got the better of Lee Shuan by 4 legs to 1 in what has to be said was a ill-tempered affair here at the Super Series. Let's have a look and see what that does in terms of the context of the league table. It puts him on 6 points alongside Steve West at the top of the table. The rest of the field are currently on 2. However, that's only going to last a little while because our final game of the session pits Dan Reed together with Patrick Mart. It's the final game of a Marathon Thursday here at the MODUS Super Series. And watching this one on the commentary is Chris Murphy and Phil Bars.
Yeah, thank you very much, Henry. Phil, can you just stop clicking that pen before we start this one? It's just putting me off a little bit.
Don't know what you want about, Chris.
Yeah, a little bit of a strange old needle, wasn't there, in that previous match? The sort of argument carried on a little bit afterwards between Lee Shuan and his opponent there, Daniel Lee. It was Lee who got the job done, so forgetting the sort of side story, the main thing after the end of that one is that because Daniel Lee got that win...
Okay, first I guess Dan to throw first.
...on 6 points
Game
level
on.
at the end of the night with Steve West.
Yeah, and that's the biggest surprise, because if you're probably looking at numbers, a bit like this afternoon, night and day between the two
100.
performances.
The reason, of course, Steve West didn't make it to 8 is because Dan Reed got the better of him. West missing 6 match darts. Real drama towards the end of the night for many reasons. But Reed, if he can win this game, will actually end the evening in 3rd place.
Yeah, and after losing his
60.
opening 2 games, it's a real get-out-of-jail-free card for Dan Reed, because he could have been in all sorts of bother.
45.
Patrick Mart's only victory came in his very first match of the night. That was a 4-2 success over Lee Shuan.
66.
I think it is clear, by the way, that the
100.
the drama came in that first leg in the previous match from hearing darts sort of clicking together. Now, that was the accusation that Daniel Lee made to Lee
55.
Shuan. Owen Binks also spoke to Lee. My reading of the situation is that whatever happened was unintentional, but it was heard
63.
by both Lee and our referee, Owen Binks.
Yeah, absolutely. And even subconsciously, sometimes you can do it without even realising it.
85. Patrick, you require
Well,
170.
let's see if the darts do the talking in this one. I think that might have deflected. You know,
80.
the way it landed, it could have
And you
caught the
require
flight.
Yeah, I completely
135.
agree. It just sort of zoomed off at a supercharged angle. I was about to say, if he found the treble,
45.
he had a great
Patrick, you
angle
require
for the ball.
90.
Bullseye then for Mart.
42.
Can't get near it. Dan
And you
Reed
require
will want
90.
the exact same shot, but not the exact same outcome. And now he wants double 15.
Surely that's a great guard just to bounce off of that one.
Game shot on the first
Yeah,
leg.
you can see what he did there.
Dan
He sort of
Reed.
opened up the angle with that shuffle across the hockey. And the group, well, it didn't read well
Second against Patrick to throw
for Dan.
first.
at the halfway stage, but it might be much, much better viewing when we show the table at the end of the night.
98.
Yeah, showing a lot of grit and determination here is Dan Reed.
And his victory over Steve West, of course, means that there's going to be
140.
just 4 points between all of the players, so everybody very much in contention going into the final session tomorrow.
Yeah, and 2/3 of the way
100.
through this Group B contest, you wouldn't have said that, because it looked as if there was clear divides in the table.
100.
19's here. Another, and he's going to leave a finish.
95.
Of course, 7/19 would have left the fish.
$60.
Well, we've had a bit of everything tonight, Phil, haven't we? Oh, that's a fantastic setup shot we've had.
Yeah, I think it's been a fabulous night
It has.
of darts, Chris. We've seen some explosive scoring, some big finishing, some needle on the hockey. What more could you want from the
58.
MODUS Super
Potential
Series?
nine-dart
Point
attempts.
40.
losing a match with 5
Games on the second
maximums.
leg. Patrick Mart.
3 180s on the spin.
Remarkable stuff. And Patrick Mart is playing his part as he levels this one up
So
with a
it's down to
13
throw
dart leg of his
first.
own.
May have to get security in for tomorrow's Group B night.
100.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Just going back to that point, I really do think that one of the reasons that we don't see as much sort of
60.
aggro on the stage here at the Super Series is because they've got to spend the next night together in the practice room. So that's going to be interesting, isn't it? And don't forget, of course, the matches are played in reverse order. So the second match of the night tomorrow will be
180.
Daniel Lee against Lee Shewan, their first match of the evening.
140.
If you're thinking of having an early night on Friday, then think again.
Can they open the doors for a one-off Friday special?
45.
There might be a few ropes around the edge of the stage tomorrow.
60.
But Dan Reid does look like a man who's sort of been in a fight with himself over the course of the night. Still won't be happy if he only gets one win, of course. He's going to be in contention,
125.
whatever happens now, because he's only going to be 2 points off third place if he does,
43.
and it's 3
And he
to go
requires
through from
51.
5. But if he wins it, he will be in third place.
Yeah, I think... Let's just see if he gets this first.
31.
I think self-reflection is a funny thing, because right now you can see, even missing those darts, knowing he's coming back, he's fighting with himself up there.
135.
Yeah, I'll ask
and
you
he
a
requires
question in a
20.
minute at the end of this leg as Reid looks to make it the end of the leg by hitting double 10. Double 5.
15.
No, sir.
Patrick requires 63.
Tops for a steal.
Games on the third leg. Patrick Mart.
And it is a steal from Patrick Mart. Dan Reid missing multiple darts. And it was a wild first dart
Fourth leg,
from
it's
the Dutchman.
Patrick to throw first.
But got himself
Game
out
on.
of jail to lead 2-1.
If Dan Reid does go on and win this match, you're going to have a scenario where Steve West won his first
59.
3 games, then missed 6 match darts against Reid himself. And despite getting more points than Reid, he could actually be feeling worse when he leaves than Reid
100.
might be if he recovers from losing his first 2 matches by winning the following 2.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a strange dynamic, this Group B now. Because
96.
an hour ago, when Steve West had 5 match starts to win all 4 games, it could have been a completely different feel to this group. But now,
100.
it's been blown wide open.
Yeah, really, really intriguing, interesting group for
137.
many reasons. And I think we're going to see a dramatic deciding session tomorrow. So don't forget to join us 10 p.m. for the conclusion of this group, live on Sporty Stuff
91.
TV and the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. That is UK time. But we will be back from 1 p.m.
100.
for the end of Group C. The first 6 games tomorrow on the YouTube channel, the remaining games rather for the running. 3 p.m. live on Sporty Stuff TV.
96. Patrick requires 109.
109 for 3-0. Sorry, 3-1. Going to get a dart double 16.
77.
And
And you
can't
require
take it.
114.
Well, Marty's looking to bookend his evening with victories, but Dan Reid is looking to pick his pocket here. And he will take aim at tops.
74. Patrick
That's
requires
been the
32.
Achilles heel all night. He's already now missed 7 in this match.
Can he use that?
Games
Yes,
on
he
the
can.
fourth leg. Patrick Mart.
Well, Dan Reid needs to
Fifth
do
leg,
the
it's
hard
Dan
way.
to throw first.
It is just 2 holds to throw. And then the 1 break. But he has to win
59.
the last 3 legs of the night. Otherwise, his night will end with him at the bottom of the table.
135. $100. 100. $100. 96.
Can we end what has been a rather eventful evening
140.
in the most sensational style?
170.
Not to be. And Reed will return for the 102, but may have to hit it.
And require 102.
Gets a go. Doesn't get a go. He's missed a big number.
87.
Well, that is a real
82.
result for Patrick
require
Marr, who now
111.
can clean up this combo. Treble 20. Not to be.
55. Daniel require 20.
Well, he's kind of lucky there he didn't hit that double 15. Double 5 the target.
15.
And it's another missed
Actually,
double
you
for
require
Dan Reed. That
56.
trend has continued all night. Missed 10 in this match. And Matt gets 2 at tops.
Game
and he
shot
wins
and
the
the
match.
Patrick
Bookends
Marr.
his evening with victories. Won the first match of the night. Won the last match of the night. And there was an awful lot of drama in between. For Dan Reed, well, he started the night as joint favourite, but missed bucket loads of doubles. His only win coming against Steve West, who himself missed 6 match starts in that one. Patrick Marr, though, taking this one 4-1 with some decent doubling himself to round off what has been a rather dramatic, darting ding-dong of a night. Phil Bars has joined Henry Deacon. Let's hope there's no bad blood on the balcony.
Never is, Chris, never is. Well, it has been a dramatic night here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Look, there's only one place to start, Phil. It's that 9th game between Lee Shewan and Daniel Lee. Instant in the first leg where there's an accusation from Danny. It looked at if it was a bit of a clicking or a ruffling of the dart. What was your perspective on what happened?
Yeah, look, the only people that know what happened is the guys that are on the stage. We can't hear it from where we are in the commentary box. Look, if Owen's heard it, he's done the right thing. If it has happened, it's happened. And no one's saying it's intentional because you can do it accidentally. You can just move your fingers without even knowing you're doing it at times. Look, it's happened. That's professional sport. People aren't always going to get on. Is it a bad thing? No, not necessarily. It shows the players care. It shows there's heart in there. But it's been dealt with. Owen stepped in and done his job.
We should tell you at this stage, we don't know the full extremities as to what happened, and we will bring that to you as soon as possible. As far as that game was concerned, it was a victory for Daniel Lee, which as far as his evening is concerned, it moves him onto 6 points and moves him into a very good position to qualify.
Yeah, look, it's been a fabulous night of darts throughout. Steve West was the standout, missed 5 match darts to pretty much rubber stamp a place there. But Daniel Lee has stepped in and joint top of the table, and the ADC qualifier is flying the flag for them superbly well.
Well, this is how the table looks then overnight. So Steve West on 6 points. Will he feel as if, though, there'd be a little bit gnawing at the back of his mind, knowing that he could have been on the full 8?
Yeah, look, absolutely. He's missed 5 match starts in that game. Of course, he's a winner. He'll be thinking, I should be on 8 points. I should have 1 foot in the final. He's got to come back tomorrow. He's going to have some work to do. But look, with his talent, he is still the huge favourite to win this Group B.
As for elsewhere, Dan Reed, what's he got to do overnight?
Hit doubles. He's had opportunities in every one of his 4 games. He's won 1 of them. Yes, Steve missed some match starts, but all the others, you look at the doubling percentage, it is way down from what Dan Reed expects. So he just needs to put that right. The scoring's been there. Can he then convert those chances he's creating?
And just finally a word on Patrick Marr.
Yeah, look, he needed to bounce back after a disappointing day in Group A yesterday. He's done that. He's in contention. He's got all to play for tomorrow. Look, I think the top 2 at the moment are looking in a very good position, and I think the others are shooting for 3rd spot at the moment.
We usually say around this time, bedtime, but I don't think we're going to be sleeping after the night we've just seen.
Look, the adrenaline's still there. Look, it's one of those things. It is professional sport, as I said earlier. It's always going to happen, whether it's here at the Super Series or any other stage across the world. These things happen.
Well, it has been an intriguing night indeed. We're going to be back tomorrow morning, well, tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock sharp for the continuation and conclusion of Group C. But as far as Group B is concerned, it is simply the rest who is on top of all the rest.